Straight Riffin is filmed in front of a live internet audience.
I am riffing. Mitch is riffing. What more can I say? Straight riffing.
Do you know how fucking desperate I am for some comfort in my life? I need that pillow.
This show is intended for mature audiences only.
I've seen a lot of dicks.
I don't know how much more disgusting this experience could get.
Are you really not having a good time?
I'm having a fantastic time. I just can't believe how disgusting you are.
I kept yelling, I'm not gonna whip my dick out. We talked about that. I'm not gonna do that.
Featuring your host, Mitch Marzoni.
I don't walk around going like, hey, I'm really weird. Look at me, I'm weird. As far as I'm concerned, I'm perfectly normal. It's a litmus test for freaky people.
And Teddy Tutson.
I'm a hate mercenary. Yeah.
All right. Hate mercenary.
Hater for hire. Hater for hire. I should put on British guys.
There are two victimless crimes, all right? One, jerking off when your window's open. Two, necrophilia.
I'm confessing to a large-scale crime.
Okay, all right.
now.
Legs akimbo, engaged in sexual discourse.
Come on, man. What kind of guest are you?
It's archived for posterity.
Great internet.
So it'll come back to haunt you every day.
Yikes.
It's time to riff.
Oh, that is right, bitches and motherfuckers. It is December 10th, 2012, 11 days from the end of the world. It is time to riff the fuck on. I'm your host, Reverend Mitch. And what are we, episode 91?
91.
Jeez, counting it down. With me, as always, is my co-host, the hater for hire, the difficult brown, Mr. Teddy, TMI Tutson. How in the fuck are you, sir?
I'm all right, Mitch. I'm hanging on right now, buckling in, about to have a real paradigm shift, waiting for the old floodgates to open up. Nat Turner's revenge is bubbling up in the shadows. We coming.
I have no idea what any part of that meant, but that's okay. That's pretty standard. So we're doing all right. And our guest this evening, Mr. Eric Hahn. How the fuck are you, sir?
I'm good. That was really dramatic.
You didn't see that coming, did you? No one ever sees the old anthems, the old stadium
Echo
entrance.
chamber.
Yep.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, glad to have you here. Apparently, you've been waiting for this for a while, even if it's
Eric
been
and I have been
longer
talking
than,
for a long time about getting him. And
We have you guys booked way in advance.
We try to run a tight ship around here.
That's nice. It's very
So,
nice.
You know, now that we finally got a change. You're a busy man, though. You're running shows. Every time I see you, you got a new show popping up.
I got a couple things going in town right now.
Look at that slide. Okay. Don't you dare pull that with me. I know your routine. Don't you try.
Are you
to pull
worried that it's too early for plugs? Is that what this?
I want to spread them out.
All right, I got you.
you pull that
pepper
old,
them,
don't pull
pepper
that old modest charm routine with me. I know your game, Hahn.
You guys have
Otherwise, I seem like I just come on here to plug.
you guys have such good radio voices.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that. Do you know that's always that weird compliment if it doesn't come from someone that you know, that you can be like, oh, thanks for making me feel uncomfortable. But like, I happen at work sometime. I'm like, you have a nice radio voice, and I'm like, you motherfuckers don't pay me enough, and I know what that means. You're gonna try and use me. Don't you dare, bitch! I will just. Hey, what's up, bitch? What's going on? I'm talking like this from now on. Payroll. Who wants check stubs?
So, what are you guys up to? I'm just saying.
It's the old Chappelle. Nah, see, nah.
I remember I was in a Denny's years ago. This would have been just after high school. I was in a Denny's, and I remember these two older ladies. Yeah, you know, Denny's was the jam. That's where we used to kick it in Phoenix. And these two older ladies, like maybe in their 60s, 50s, something like that. I'm not good with ages. And they were like walking up, and they had that look, and I was like, I fucking know that look. These bitches are coming over here to fucking proselytize about Jesus. I fucking know it. Here it comes. And the one lady like leans over, she goes, I'm sorry to disturb you. I just had to say it. I was like, I was so ready to go, bitch, you know, like just scream out. She goes, you have, my friend and I have just been listening, and you have such a lovely voice. And then I was like, thanks. And then she just walked away. I was like, all right, I was wrong.
She was so hitting on you.
She was so nice. Yeah,
Eric
I guess
has,
so.
yeah, she
I
was.
don't know.
Eric has that
I don't
real,
roll
like,
that late.
soothing.
That old.
I would love to listen to Eric narrate me through many a book on tape.
I don't know.
Oh my god, I want that laugh as a sound drop. I want that. I want that. Hell, if only we could capture the fucking tongue sticking out of your
Oh,
man. That's-
God. I hear my voice on tape, and I'm like, could you take the dick out of your mouth, please? Like, I could not sound gayer. I feel like.
It would be so. You know what? I feel like it'd be good because the
Unless
longer,
you're sucking very small dicks, because it doesn't sound like you actually have anything in your mouth. There are people that, like usually in Jersey and
voice
stuff,
is-
they have that like sound. Oh, this kind of thing. And
Yeah,
it's like
on the
now
literal
it
dick in
does
mouth.
sound like you literally have a dick in your mouth,
I
but
feel
not
like,
in your case.
I feel
so
like
you're okay.
as you progress through the book, though, you would get increasingly more and more excited and forget that you were narrating a book on tape and like you were just reading the book for your own
living
sake.
it. Just living
Oh,
it.
I love that part.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's a
I
shocker.
did.
Yeah, right. Oh, plot twist.
I didn't see that coming.
Just like doing
Oh no,
Yeah,
they
right?
killed the dog.
It could
Not
be
the
its-
dog.
It could be its
No.
own amazing line of books on tape where just Eric Hahn reads. And you could go through literary classics like, how dare you put him in this bell tower?
Oh.
He's such a beautiful soul.
That would be awesome.
I'm telling you, man.
That's the problem with the books on tape. There's no emotion. It's very
You
much like the
can't-
newscasters, just giving you information.
Yeah.
There's no human emotions.
You gotta put that deep personification in it.
For
That's what I'm
sure.
saying. You could do it, man. You could do it all.
Gay it up.
You could take those Left Behind books and gay them up for real.
Oh.
I'm sure
Bring 'em
Kirk Cameron would love that if you.
Yeah, there is a strange thing with like Christian companies that have no fucking gaydar. Like zero gaydar.
Yeah,
The
especially
amount of like preachers I've heard, they're like, listen, we gotta talk about it. And you're like, you can't possibly. How are you fooling everyone around you?
Do you
know what I
think
mean?
now? Do you think it's an issue
Ted
that
Haggard
they don't
comes to
have
mind.
the gaydar, or that they've just broken it? They've went in and they just dissembled it for a while until it can come raging back.
There's some curious kind of denial that goes along with that.
Is there some level of self awareness?
Because it's always those guys that
Yeah.
are caught blowing somebody in a bathroom. You know what I mean?
Ted
it's
Haggard
always
is a
high
perfect
risk.
example. Yeah.
It's never like I've lived a very modest domestic partnership for 20 years.
Yeah.
We go to book clubs. We've had a secret PTA branch that we've run. It's always like I was doing meth with fucking just all kind of pool boys and like for hire,
I gotta check something real quick.
pages. And just like we all forget about Mark Foley back in the day when we've really done a good job as a country of hushing up the fact that the Page program in Washington, D.C. was a very heavy farm system for hot gay male studs.
They should have just called them altar boys. Like, Page/altar boy. Just yeah.
Why does the manual
Travel
come with a
from-
rosary?
Excuse
Roll
me.
with it.
Excuse me.
You'll need it later.
They're wholesome travel companions, okay? They just so happen to all be
I think-
tanned and toned and young
You know what I mean?
and hang out on
I
gay
do not-
sex lines.
I don't know who it was that first coined the old idiom, the love that dare not speak its name. But I think with a few centuries under our belts, if not thousands, if eons, we can say that's one of the top 5 fucking historically accurate observations, I feel like, of human evolution, where that like it's amazing how
I thought you were going to say that would be top 5 gayest phrases throughout history. That's where I thought you were going with that. Because it
No,
would.
I wanted to focus on the poignancy of love lost.
All right. I feel like a love that dare not speak its name historically probably wasn't a heterosexual sexual love.
No,
No,
You know
it
what I mean?
definitely was. It I mean, that's
Oscar
what it-
Wilde coined that, I think.
was it Oscar
Oh,
Wilde?
yeah.
I thought that. But yeah, I mean, and then I was watching
Is he banging somebody's wife? What's going on?
a documentary of Alan Turing.
Turing.
Turing. Thank you. And just. I knew, like, I had always heard about that, but then when you really hear all the details laid out, and and then the sterilization that the state put him through, that Britain put him through after becoming this national hero,
Right.
and it really, like, you just get a very. And that's why, like, I guess when everyone's like, of course this man is gay, like, no wonder he's gay or whatever. You're just like, I get why you would fight that if that is what they have, if that is
And
the
yet,
arc of what they are
all
doing
these
to
years
people.
later, we still haven't found a single thing that's Turing complete. All right, that's for 3 geeks. Listen at home. And then maybe a couple of curious souls that can go, what's Turing complete mean? And then they'll go on Wikipedia and read about P equals NP, and their mind will explode to the back of their head.
We are exploding minds here.
Yeah, it's Turing complete is a crazy thing. Look it up sometime.
I'll Google that shit.
Should, yeah.
I'm really surprised that there's closet cases nowadays. I really am. Just to support what you were talking about, because I made a joke recently about how I'm joining ChristianMingle.com because I want to find like an old-fashioned closet case. So
I bet that is a really wholesome ad. I bet they didn't even know that they were appealing to you.
Not at all. Like I put it. You
The
have
gay
to.
agenda has evolved again.
I love that, by the way, when I saw the PDF by one of those like those fear-mongering groups, they were like, here's the gay agenda. Like you fully expected at the end, like it would be like, then big terrorist gay bombs.
And then
it's
big
like,
gay rolls into town.
The end result of the gay agenda was like, then it's okay to be gay. Like that was the end. I was like, really? That's
okay
your big
to love
fear?
yourself.
Well, first it's brunch.
That's so strange.
Bro, that's a really good fear. Though.
I
First
mean,
it's
yeah,
brunch,
yeah.
shopping, and then come to
yeah.
terms with oneself.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, how do you? It's hard to sell that fear.
Is it
That like if we're not careful, it might be all right to be gay.
Do you have associates who you know are still in the closet, and is that what kind of conversation is it with them? Where are you kind of like, I don't understand why you're still.
Yeah, I'm like.
Now listen, I watch Sex and the
Like,
City, but I'm secure. All right, you don't need to bring this up every time. All right, so good.
He has all of the seasons.
Look, there's a reality to it, but I was just all right. Go ahead.
Well, actually the last guy
I have
that
a
I
follow-up question.
the last guy I
waiting
was
a week to
seeing
ask.
Really?
And it got to a point where we couldn't be involved anymore because I can't be with somebody who's living this life of like, every time coworkers bring up, his girlfriend, he's like, oh yeah, she's out of town or something, and just pretending like living this double life. I'm like,
Is
what
he
this
open
meant
to anybody, or is it all completely? I mean, I know sometimes there's varying degrees of openness. You'll have maybe one or two friends who aren't gay who know, but in terms of your larger social circle, right? Everyone's kind of in the dark. Or was he just like, I'm flying low, everyone's going to think I'm really just...
He flew low for the most part. He
Pussy,
had a
am I
couple-
right, guys? Awesome.
Who doesn't love that shit, huh? Just all up in your face, huh? Yeah,
Punani.
yeah, yeah.
You know how when a girl puts her mouth on your wang and it feels good?
Yeah.
It's certainly not unwarranted at all.
Yeah,
That is what I am talking. Who wants to go to Hooters?
yeah.
I've never seen a vagina live. Like I've never.
Have you really never seen
I've
a vagina?
never had one.
You've
Like
never. Did you not do when you were younger? You didn't. Did you
all
experiment
the,
on the other side?
My
A little bit.
recollection,
You never
all,
saw
all the gay
vagina?
friends I had in Phoenix, like they would get, and now I use it in my act when I'm talking about pussy. If you just brought it up, kind of thing, their descriptions of vaginas were so it would turn me off of vaginas. You know what I mean? It's a sarlacc pit, and it's what I mean.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's.
Stop! Don't say.
Do you have?
Blasphemous.
When you think about them, are you just sitting there going like, oh, here's why? Here's a
guys
list
got
of
no
reasons why it's
appreciation.
disgusting.
well, when I found out that there was something called a clitoral hood, that was right there. That like
When
what
it
is
was
That's
that-
like a
yeah.
Star Wars character. Clitoral
going on
hood.
the
Jar
board.
Jar Binks.
Clitoral Hood is a Star Wars character. That is going on the board.
Because I've had a theory for many years based on that if you're not into eating pussy, you're not actually into women, and this goes for men and women. Because I've known plenty of like fake bi chicks that just like making out in the clubs, and I'm like, if you wouldn't go down on a woman, then you're not bi, all right? You're not like into chicks.
If you wouldn't just put your whole grill in it,
Just
Yeah.
all
you don't know nothing about no
I think that's kind of that's
the
the
same way with
that's
the
the
gay
dividing
thing.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
gotta-
probably
I feel like
sucking a
you
dick
could
goes the
be
same way.
really gay and have a lot of maybe homoerotic thoughts until the moment there's another man's Johnson in your face, and then it's game time. Have you ever had someone who's like, you know what, like, I thought I was gay, but like
Up until this
up until,
business.
like you put your penis out, and then I realized that I have gone a bridge too far, sir.
Never.
Have you-
If anything, it's the opposite. They take one look and they're like, I'm in.
now,
Oh,
do you-
my God! That's amazing. This is what I have been
now do you
waiting
feel
for.
like
I have scaled the mountaintop.
Do you feel like that's probably more common in like your gateway drug gays, if you will, the 19-year-old tan tone dude and stuff like that? Do you feel like there's probably people that guys that'll hook up with those guys, but they're not actually they're not even all that into it. They're just kind of like, oh well, this is acceptable. But then like if you get over 35 years old or something like that, like you're not going for that unless you've already come to grips with the fact that you like cock.
That's very prevalent these days, especially. The line between straight guys and gay guys is very blurred now because of the fact that it's more accepted to be gay and it's not a big deal. So guys that are 19 or whatever, that maybe experiment and they're open to it and they're doing porn now. Like most of the porn guys, like half of them are straight.
Yeah,
well, the gay for pay, which is I feel like it's a lot more.
That's been going on for.
Well, it's been going on forever though. But it wasn't as sort of openly just. It wasn't as codified. I feel like it as it is now, where it's like, oh, you want to do this? Well, you know, you gotta be like, well, I'm gonna go be gay for pay for a while, and then I'm just gonna go and do this. And
rough
it's whatever.
trade.
That's because they make a ton of money.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just
They'll make like $1,000 for an afternoon.
I'm sure you do know the price. I mean, just say on
Listen,
average,
I got a couple of
like,
cameras in my basement. I mean, I got nothing to do with nothing.
Just because a brother roll around with a trunk full of oil and a couple inflatable pools don't mean I'm up to no good.
Now, to that point, I watched a clip you have, The List. I'm not sure if you still do that joke or if that's like from earlier time where you don't
That's
really
an
do it
earlier
anymore.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can still remember The List.
Yes.
Eric has a joke or had a joke in his act called The List, and it was a list of things that only gay guys do, or maybe more to the point, it's if you do it, you're a straight man. You're not a straight man. You're a gay man. And you're just in the closet still. Like that's how you can tune your gaydar, I suppose, is I think how you phrased it, something like that.
It came about because a lot of people always ask, how can I tell if somebody's gay? How can I,
pull your dick out. If they smile, then
I would love.
There you go.
I just tell girls, mention Stockard Channing. If you see, you guys don't even know who she is.
Oh, that's a she.
Yeah,
right. I was like, is that Channing Tatum's other? Is that his brother?
That's what I was thinking.
Is that another dude? Is that
I've
Magic?
heard of Channing Tatum. Is that like? Yeah, I thought
is
it was.
He in the
I thought a
direct to
brother.
DVD Magic Mike reboot? Because I know what that is.
Stockard Channing.
Stockard Channing played Rizzo on Grease, and she's an actress.
Okay,
and the
that would
gays
explain it.
love Stockard Channing. I can't explain
That
it.
is how the gays have always been like 3 steps ahead. With it, like if you wear this ring on this finger, we know you. You know,
I would venture to say,
Just
if
I
I had
the Black Newsletter.
You guys are regular Paul Revere's.
I would try if I had the chance to have sex with Stockard Channing. I would try. I would.
I love that there's a pause. You're like, I would give it the old college.
I can imagine him
1-2,
like right there about to penetrate her, and like the moment he's like, all right, this is, you know what, this is a little bit moist, and I'm out.
I think
like,
that
where's your
if you were
penis?
standing up and she was sort of like bent over, but you weren't, like you just like looking at the ceiling, and she backed up onto it, I think you could. I think you could power through it.
A guy would have to be there.
You would have to.
He would have to be
Would
healthy.
you have
A
to?
picture
You would
on
have
the
to be a
ceiling.
dude who's like,
Right.
just look at me.
Yeah.
Look
He's
at
like,
me.
yeah, do it. You'd be like, all right, I
I got
can power through
But
this.
there's certain women that I find appealing though. Like
Yeah, I mean, so like you can certainly, I would say, so you're like, oh, I could. Are you?
That's what I'm saying. The
Is it,
pussy.
you're like,
if you wouldn't eat
I'm
a
not
pussy, you're
attracted
not
to her,
into
but
women.
I would say that
Yeah.
she certainly is an attractive person. Is that kind of the line, or?
Well, even as older, like the older I get, the more attracted I get to certain women, and I find, like I'll get, if I'm around them, if they're real life women, I get giggly and silly, and I
But
get
if they're
red in
real
the
life
face.
dolls, well, I need a little privacy.
But there's there's
Back in a few,
actresses that I find really compelling. Like Laura Linney is just, she's beautiful. Like I just love that kind of woman. And I'm sure that if I was straight,
Was that in your
would-
Christian Mingle profile? I'm looking
for my
Laura
Laura Laura Linney-esque.
There you go. Way to do it.
with small boobs and a big dick. So anyway,
What up? That
could
sounds
work.
like me.
It could work. Yeah.
Sounds like me.
I get it.
Hello, you
Makes
don't
sense.
know me, but I.
No, I mean, it goes the other way. Johnny Depp is a very attractive man. There's no two ways about it.
That motherfucker's a ghost.
would I?
I've never. I'm
But
sorry,
I would never like. I would never
I
like
get-
if he pulled it out and was like, "I need you to suck on this." I'd be
He
like,
has that real
no,
like abstract
gross me out.
ethereal beauty. So like I get like I can only understand worshiping Johnny Depp as a really attractive idol if you were so afraid of real life sex that you just wanted to have this thing that was just like that you would never ever have to wear because he's so fucking like his face is so like ghouly and plastic.
right,
I don't
all
really
right.
like I understand why
I can use
like,
some more examples. Ryan Gosling is another example.
I don't think that's the same at all.
Zac Efron.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just talking about
Johnny
like.
Depp, I think I
Zac
focus
Efron
on him
makes me-
specifically though, but I think Johnny Depp exists in a very
fair.
different realm.
Oh, that's
than-
fair. That's fair.
So that's why
I was
focus
like-
on it.
I was literally
I've watched
just-
bitches go. I told you about the
Yeah,
story when
yeah,
I literally
yeah.
watched human beings go crazy when I was on the bus and there was the fucking. I think it was like the Rum Diaries premiere at Mayhem's Chinese Theater, and like I was just on the bus and I just happened to fucking watch all of a sudden people were just just hanging out, and then the fucking SUV rolled up and Johnny Depp rolled up, and then they just bitches just lost their mind. It was crazy.
He's
son.
like a walking heated pool.
Right.
Chicks
And-
just lose
and
their
I'm just-
clothing.
And I'm like, I mean, I get it, but like, it's weird. I'm
Is he
not.
teeny? Did you see him come out? Was
He looks like he looks like a fucking. He looks kind of like not sickly or frail, but like.
You know, all those little actors, they're like sprites.
Yeah,
You
man.
know what I mean? They're like
Tiny
little
little
elves.
men, yeah.
You think they're big, and then
He
you see
was
them.
more diminutive than I would have imagined. I'll say that. I'll say that. But I know how like the average height is like 5'2".
Yeah, I was told somebody early on was telling me that if I ever do the thing where I list my stats on the back of a headshot, that I should say I'm 5'10". I was like, I'm 6'1". They're like, say you're 5'10".
Really?
Because if you're too tall, then they're like, oh, he's too tall for this scene. We can't.
I mean,
have-"
look, it's the same thing that happens with.
but they'll
like,
figure it out, like in real
Vin
life.
Diesel
but,
with Vin
like,
Diesel and
you
The
know,
Rock
right.
when they did the Fast and the Furious. The Rock is huge, man. The guy played college football as a linebacker at Miami. The man is a fucking beast. Vin Diesel was a small man.
Small gay
and
man.
You are a small
And-
man, all right? Just want you to know, in case you didn't, you were a small
I mean,
man.
and the way they had to frame the scenes to compensate for just a vast physical difference is
Sure,
it's
sure.
an impressive.
It's like the
artistic-
Hobbits, you know.
Yeah,
and,
it's
Lord of
a
the
very
Rings, yeah.
impressive artistic accomplishment.
What they have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
with Tom Cruise too. They have to dig a
Oh,
trench
always,
for.
bro,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that poor-
exactly.
Wow, he's like what 5'4", top, something like
He's
that.
just a. You just
Yeah.
stick.
I
him-
really
tiny,
want to be alive
man.
long enough to not just be there when it finally breaks the Scientology wall and all the Tom Cruise gay comes out, but then for like 10 years later, after everybody's finally processed it, and then someone comes out like with a real baller ass authoritative documentary. I want to be there when like Marty Rathburn was like, "We told you motherfuckers he was gay." I want to be there. Do you know what I mean? I want to be. That's the only reason I'm living so long, baby.
Let me
holding
tell you
on.
something. I am so prepared for that. That for the past 5 years, I have every year re-upped my ownership of the domain TomCruiseIsGayAndThat'sOK.com. No lie. That is still in my possession. I'm hanging on to that baby because that news is gonna break and I'm gonna get some windfall.
Wow.
Because he's gonna be like, all right, can I have that? Yes, I'm gay. It's okay. Can I have it? That could just be my new .com. And I'm gonna be like, oh Tom, how long I have waited for this moment.
I just want.
Mr. Cruz.
Yes, you don't
Step
set
into
up
my office,
a process
please.
to audition for women to be your girlfriend unless you're like
Scared of bitches?
a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
Scared of
bitches.
or crazy gay.
I never found him very appealing.
Although I will say,
Did
he ever-
if
does
I
he
could
set off
set
your
up
gate on-
auditions, I probably would. I
In
mean,
Risky Business, he did.
I
a
have to
little bit
go
'cause he was
date by
so
date
pretty.
at this point. Which
He
is,
was so pretty, but he's just after that. It was just
yeah.
it was downhill with him, and he's just
a
got the
good-looking
weird-
guy.
He's
Come
got the
on.
weirdest body. His nipples are like right here.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever noticed that. Like he's got.
Do
These,
you know? Okay, well, let's just take a moment right now. Riffopolis. What you can't see is that Eric's nipples are about an entire hand length away from where he's saying Tom Cruise's nipples
Yes.
are. They're lower down on his stomach. It is actually in his what would be the belly button region is
Right.
where he's saying Tom Cruise.
It's
I
true.
don't know, like
lower abdomen, not even
it
like
really-
lower than the lower
it
abdomen.
seems seems like a borderline disorder.
He's got a weird body. Someone Google that shit. Like there's a scene in
No
Rain
wonder
Man.
you're auditioning women. No wonder. I would audition women too if I had nipples that was all the way down on my hips.
It is
The
so
things
odd.
I Google for
Is
this
that a
fucking
birthmark?
show.
It's my nipple. Get out, bitch.
he's got this weird it's just hard. It's just hard to his body doesn't make sense. It looks like he needs to be stretched out. or
All right,
something.
you know what? I'm looking at a photo, and I have never noticed Tom Cruise's nipples, but I will get on board with your crazy plan here, sir.
You gays just see all the things we don't see.
Well, you suck it
No
up,
wonder
Jake.
you are
I
such
mean,
a threat.
Look at that kid. Those
Oh,
are
look at
that.
nipples. Hey, damn, that is low. Wow.
those nipples do hang a little lower than
They are
perhaps I
traveling
would imagine.
south.
That is
Those
low.
those are low
Yeah,
breasts.
that's right. You got a real dilemma now.
See,
Tough.
Dilemma, motherfucker.
you're gonna need.
Okay, listen. Can I get an areola tuck upwards?
Well,
has the medicine reached that level yet?
Pull that shit.
So,
up.
so to the point of your list, of your gaydar list, when I was listening, I was like, okay, fabulous, I'm on board. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's not a straight man word. Almost everything you mentioned thereafter, which I don't remember off the top of my head, were all. I was like, yeah, I do that. Why is that a problem? I think it was like one of them was like, if he mentions the word vinaigrette, I'm like, well, I like a good vinaigrette. Like,
Yeah, it's
fuck
a little
you,
gay,
you
bro.
know, like-
It's a little gay, bro.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely a little gay. I do not like vinaigrette.
I
man.
mean, I
a
tried to
little
make a
gay.
vinaigrette last night. I failed miserably.
Listen,
I didn't have
it's
all
not-
the
it
right. Hold
doesn't-
on, I'll play.
It
I'll,
doesn't mean that
hold
you
on,
like
I'll-
penis.
somebody else's
but it's a little
sexuality?
gay.
Like you're some kind of metal detector for gay?
All right, let me skip ahead to the
Yeah.
actual
So
list.
young.
Hold
Anything
on.
that could
sounds young.
happen in a straight guy's life that would lead him to use the word fabulous?
Okay, so we got fabulous. Let me skip ahead.
Into the
Sorry.
end of the season's insane. They got Rodriguez. They're exfoliated.
Exfoliating. I do exfoliate.
You are
This
a
next
little
one's
gay,
a phrase
dude.
you won't hear too many straight guys
okay.
use. Does this sweater come in fuchsia?
I'm a designer. I know all about colors. Sorry.
It's a color
Oh, that's
thing.
what it was.
They're
Yeah, yeah.
straight-
You had a big discussion about colors. I took a color test recently, and I scored a
Gay.
perfect. Yeah, I scored a gay out of 100.
Wow.
From 0 to 100, I scored gay.
Oh my god.
No, I've
Who
mentioned this
even
before.
coded that in there?
Like it would be convenient. It would be nice if I wasn't appalled by every cock that wasn't mine, but like. Because it'd be convenient. Like, I'd get along real well. I'd be like, look, I know all the terms. Yes, I know what fuchsia looks like. You know, things like this. I'd be set.
Gay culture
I'm like 30% gay.
Here's what I
is what I'll
really
put
have
me.
always loved about
23% maybe.
gay culture.
I just realized
Sort of-
30 sounds a little high. I'm just going to dial that back a bit.
Too late, bro. We go
Yeah,
with
it's
first
all right.
number only.
It's all right, it's
No
all right.
refunds, bro. No refunds. No refunds.
I figure 55. I think at 55% gay is
No.
where you start blowing.
If someone
dudes.
told you that they were
don't know.
30% gay and you met them at a bar, what would you think that you? What's the farthest that you think you could go?
First
with
off,
them
what kind
on
of
that?
bar?
30%?
Not talking to you. Talking to Eric here.
Definitely some heavy making out.
Would you be able to?
so-
Would you be able to like rub
What's,
on the get
what's
under
the,
hand
what's
on
the
the shirt?
threshold? Wait, where's
Heavy
the
petting?
threshold? Like
The making out is a
23%?
bridge to.
Yeah.
That's a
No, no,
bridge
but
to
I'm
other
saying
things.
So 30% gay basically
I'm below
puts you at a
that.
gateway. You are basically
I'm- but
real
that-
ripe for the gay agenda. No wonder you are just so worried about that
I've-
joke.
no,
No wonder
no.
we just listened to it. You're like, do you hear all these things? I like this, man.
I took a
Come
color
on.
test.
What if I wake up
Took
and
a
a dick is
color
around
test.
me tomorrow?
Yeah.
What am I gonna
Yeah.
do? I'm gonna have to put it in my mouth and see if I like it.
I have
and then
taken,
what
you
happens
know,
if I
sure.
do?
That's just
Sure.
it. Gay men love to suck dick. We do. Like, I would rather suck a dick than get a paycheck.
Damn, son.
You know what I mean?
You should
Like,
be
I
sucking.
just-
You should be
I
sucking dicks for
love it.
paychecks.
You-
that's
your-
that's definitely a
and
legitimate job
gay
in Hollywood.
men love to suck. I have a joke
Is
now. in my-
that where we basically got glory holes from? Because they were just like, listen, was
Just
it
stick
the
it
gays
through.
who pushed the glory holes?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was. That's, yeah.
And there's guys that still love to do that, which I
There's
don't.
still glory hole ads all the time on Craigslist,
Yeah.
no doubt, bro. If you ever want to see where the glory holes are in your area, just go to Craigslist and hop on casual encounters, and you will no doubt see like, damn, there are really a lot't holes happening.
You could just do a
it's
search
like-
with glory.
Eric's like, or if you want to take the old-fashioned way, you missed the phone book out. Go down. Not
well,
3 times on Manuel's door. He'll
interestingly,
give you the map.
to your point, and referencing what we talked about earlier, when you hear about like gay sex scandals, it does surprise the straight world that when a guy who purported to be straight for a long time gets caught up in a gay sex scandal, it does surprise them when they're like, "Oh, you were blowing him? Like you were finding guys on Craigslist to blow? Like it seems so weird." But that would if it is, you know, just that addicting, gotta have dick in the mouth, then it makes a lot more sense.
I don't know if it's good. Is it really? I don't know. That
I don't
makes it
know
sound
about
like
addicting,
that
but
sounds like
I'm-
a fucking a commercial for a sugary cereal or something. I gotta have my dick flakes. You're like, oh.
Part of this balanced breakfast.
I'm
dick in the mouth.
cuckoo for dick flakes. I'm cuckoo for dick flakes.
No,
Well,
but you know what I'm saying? Like the like when I first heard about Ted Haggard, they were like he was paying guys. He would go to different towns. He would pay guys to come into his hotel room, and he would blow them. And I always thought, like, you're paying to get it? That seems backwards. But
Well, the
If-
thing
if,
is that if the more high profile an actor is, the harder it's going to be
Sure.
to find somebody who will keep it to themselves. If I had sex with Zac Efron, I would be hard pressed not to Facebook status that shit.
You would immediately,
Like, I would just be like,
immediately roll
"Hello."
over and go. So I happen to bring these papers over. This is a 6-figure proposal.
No, I should qualify. If Zach is listening, no, the secret will be safe with me. I will definitely try. to
Don't you
keep it.
dare! It's
just
too late.
FYI.
That's it. You gonna be like, listen, baby. I just wanted to let you know. That's all just podcast posturing. You know, I love
what I'm
you,
saying?
boy.
It's just pillow
you know, I
talk
love
and
you.
shit. You know what I'm
I
saying?
put on 17 again last night, and I and I fell asleep listening to it.
Oh, he is so pretty. I saw him in real
Oh my
life.
God.
and
Is that
he
your
just-
young Hollywood crush right now? Is that who you
Yeah,
have?
the thing I like about him.
Don't
though,
even
is
give me
he's-
that heavy side. Don't
he's
you
a-
dare. Ooh, you got me thinking.
I
Oh,
know.
Lord.
You got
Ooh,
the
Lord.
vapors.
I do.
Somebody bring a
hi.
fan over here. Bless it. It's some hot.
Got some papers.
Can I
can
get some
fold up.
tea on this
Get
porch?
some, a mint julep,
Ooh,
perhaps.
bless your heart, child. You just go and show it up, looking all adorable.
Well, no, the thing is that I
All the
like
business.
that he's growing older because that was one thing that bothered me is that he was so young.
Made
So,
you feel
I don't
creepy.
Too nubile.
Yeah, I don't think people get interesting and sexy until they're in their mid-30s. I really, that's when.
I
that's
I
when
feel like you definitely have to. I definitely
Okay.
think there's a
That's
sense
fair.
of maturity that's missing with sexuality. in
you
the
just got to
culture.
have some life all around you. You
Right.
got to have some funk on you. You know what I mean? To
You
be,
like that real? Yeah.
like that.
Let me wipe that real, just bottom barrel funk off you.
I want
You've been
some-
rolling round.
I
in
want them to
Some
have
scars.
walked through some struggle.
some muckety muck.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it appealing.
Look at you with your face all clean, precious, like you don't know nothing about life, pain, heartache. Get out of here before I go on and eat you up.
It's true.
You old
No,
adorable
look, I'm with
innocent
you. I'm
ass.
with you.
Unearned beauty.
I like.
That's good.
I get
You
it.
know what I mean?
get it.
Unearned
I get
beauty
it.
is
You know,
going
like
on
if
the
you're
board.
20, you don't do anything to earn that. You just show up for that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know what I
I
mean?
see. I'm into chicks with scars and everything else like that. I'm like, all right, you've walked a dangerous path or something. Something's
Just make
attacked
some
you at some
interest-
point.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I was having sex with a girl one time who, in the middle of having sex, she had a fake rotator cuff, like a titanium rotator cuff, which I didn't know was a part of the body. So when she said, "Watch out," because she was, I turned her at some point. I heard this clink. She goes, "That was my rotator cuff," and I was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna need a minute. I'm about to come like everywhere."
No,
I was like,
no.
oh, it's like the hottest thing ever.
Oh my god, that is so.
I heard a
like,
clink in her arm. That's all I
Bro,
need. I'm like, you have a
wow.
titanium body part, like,
God.
oh. And
that
it-
is the
it
moment.
is-
I would that would have been like, hold on. I need
Oh
a
no,
minute.
that was
I
it was
just-
so hot.
Got to get
I
it
love you,
back.
I love you,
Right,
girl,
yeah.
but I just banged it out with a cyborg, and I really need to.
R2D2.
No,
shit.
no, I was all about.
I'm
that.
having
No,
some like
no.
real History Channel
I'll
future
take
sex right now,
I'll take
and I need to take a moment.
Yeah, I'll
You
take
need
a
to pack a bowl,
paraplegic.
girl.
Yeah, I
Spark
don't think
up
I
some
could.
incense and put on some
I
Marley.
would feel guilty about fucking a quadriplegic, but I could power through it. A paraplegic, I'd be all about it. Missing an arm, I'd be all about it. Missing fingers, I've done that. You know, that's always a good time.
We got to read.
You know,
we got
so I'm
to.
with you,
We
yeah.
would have to. We would have to definitely. We would have missed the runway and have to come back in for another landing on that one. I definitely would have. Definitely would have
You're
been
telling me
opposite,
you're
opposite
Teddy,
end
hold
of the
on,
spectrum
Teddy,
from you on that
Teddy,
one.
you're having sex with a girl and you hear clink, and she goes, "That was my rotator cuff." You're done. You're out. You're like, "Oh, I need a few minutes."
Well,
to
first of
myself,
all,
or
if
what?
I had not gotten to know her well enough to know that she had a bionic rotator cuff, then yes, I would be out the game.
Is that something you say on a first date?
No, but then I probably am not banging it out with her on the first date. I might take the time to get to know a motherfucker.
What a guy. I love
I
that.
might want to know why you have a bionic rotator cuff so that when coitus does happen, and the clink eventually happens, you know that I'm not gonna be bamboozled and fucking run out, because maybe not everybody busts a nut when you have a clink happen and you're like, oh, that's my rotator cuff, and not everybody's like, oh shit.
No, wait, just say that again.
Maybe
Rotator cuff, I'm sorry.
sometimes people are like, I'm sorry, what? Your rotator cuff is Mitch.
no.
Yeah, is that really surprising?
Yeah. You don't like
Eric,
you don't
with
like a woman who's
Fairy,
been through some
come
shit.
Come on now.
Had some tragedy in her life.
Been through some shit is one thing, man. But we're talking a real heavy physical activity, and all of a sudden someone's like, "Oh fuck, my rotator." You would fucking freak out, man.
Nope.
Yes.
Plus, what led to
Yes.
that?
I
Was
wouldn't.
it a-
Not you, obviously, because that is why you're the man with the anecdote, bro. And we're the man with the hypothetical.
All right, let me put it this way: you find a girl like that, send her my way. I'll take it. I will take it.
Let me turn this into a personal ad right now. For those of
Yeah, I
you,
mean, if that shit freaks you out, like
you have
bring
got
it the fuck
titanium
on.
feet.
Missing an arm, cool. Whatevs.
I'm just.
I'll
when I
rub
was-
a stub. I'm fucking cool with that shit. That is A-all-right with me. Fine.
Don't make me out to be.
So that's not what you're talking about.
Don't
though.
make me out to be some sort of
Eric.
fucking.
All right, fair enough.
Don't
Touche.
make me. Don't even dare. What I was trying to point out is when we're talking about sort of your line with you enjoying all the gay things, but penis, such as Sex in the City.
That's why you could. That's why I can safely say I'm not gay, because it's like if all the other things
you
about
can
being
safely
gay,
say that you're 70% not gay based on your first number, which basically
all right,
means if
right,
a
that's
man
fine.
like Eric played his cards right, he might be able to get your penis in his mouth.
no.
No. If the heavy petting, which always is on the, you're saying that's like you're on the precipice, right? If you get a man to 30% gay heavy petting, what could you take that man to, Eric?
No.
No.
See,
All
all
right,
right, go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
You go ahead and
That's
explain
like
your
episode
fucking.
91.
Watch it. I got fucking neighbors who
Hey,
stomping your
Sorry.
foot.
I'm sorry. The
Black
gay is
people are
infected.
expressive.
I think 30%. I would definitely
Go back down to
suck
20,
his,
21.
He would definitely let me suck his dick.
No,
One
no.
time. All
I-
it is one time, bro. All you got to do is one time. And then you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. And
Hold
then
on.
you're done.
Let me show
And
you.
The
Let me-
gay
let me give
agenda
you a
has
quick-
succeeded again.
But
me-
but with blowjobs, this is what I talk about in my act too.
Go
is
ahead,
that
go ahead.
I found out that you guys sometimes have to ask girls for blowjobs, which is so sad.
It is depressing, yeah.
You have to ask for it, and then they don't like it, which is
Or then they use them as a tool to get married, and then they're done.
then they just
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
Which is
sucking the dick.
that's a crime against humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a crime against humanity, ladies.
But I tell in my act, I say, well, I don't like to say act, but in my set, I usually say, if you live in LA, on any given night, your girlfriend won't suck your dick. Statistically, you are like 2 blocks away from 4 gay dudes who will help you out,
Right?
including me.
All you need to do is jump on Grinder.
Exactly.
Okay, holler at your boy. I'm not talking about me. Okay,
You
I'm
can probably
talking
yell out your window.
Okay,
I don't even
this-
think you need to
I'm-
hop on anything. I imagine.
What is like the gay? Need my dick sucked. I'm over here.
Apartment 12. Apartment 12.
by
Need
the
a dick suck
mulberry
up here
bush.
on a double quick.
What is this like a
Come
whole,
up here and
it's
show
like
them a woman
whole
how it's done.
network of like old canned phones where it's like it's just connected to all the gays and some dude knows where it is. It's like by the well. He's like, excuse me, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'm by the old county well and I need my dick sucked.
I remember,
four gays just roll up like tow trucks and then
I remember when I was
No, they'd
when I
be
was
on
like
Segways. Like deet, deet, with little horns on them.
beat you here.
I was say when I was about maybe 16-ish, something like that. I remember living in Phoenix. I had a friend who was like, "Oh, sometimes I go to these underground clubs downtown and like they're after hours clubs." And I just remember thinking like, "Oh, that would be awesome." I usually had to sneak out and walk around the streets. It'd be awesome to like actually go somewhere. And he one time like he couldn't go. I think he like gave me the directions or something like that. And I went, and it was kind of like a underground sort of rave sort of thing, and there was like couches and shit. I'm sitting on this couch watching some sort of video remix kind of thing going on, this art installation, crazy, techno music. And this guy sort of, I don't want to say sat down next to me, but he kind of like put his elbows down like next to me and was like looking up at me. He's like, "First time here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just checking it out, figuring a place to go and all this different stuff." And he goes, "Mm-hmm. Can I blow you?" And I was like, Am I in a gay club? And he's like, "You didn't know you're in a gay club?" And I was like, No, I thought it was just like a fucking after
I
hours
am
club. He goes,
stunned
this is a gay club. He's like, how did you end up in a gay club if you don't want to get blown? And I was like, I didn't know I was in a gay club.
I
I'm
am
sorry.
stunned.
So
By
I
the-
have turned that down many times.
By the
but-
number of straight male friends that I have who have ended up in gay clubs or bars for extended periods of times and then did not realize that they were in foreign territory until someone just outright sexually propositioned them with a, hey, let's take this back to my
Yeah, I
place.
don't-
And then they go, wait a minute, what's happening here? What? You mean you guys aren't just kind gentlemen who buy a man a drink for being new in town?
So well dressed.
You know?
such a
To be fair, this
You
was
mean
not
dapper
a
fellows don't just assemble like this?
this was not a bar, so I didn't have to there wasn't any like
No, I
nobody
said
buy it.
no.
I
But
understand.
my point though
I
is
no, I
that
get it.
it is
Absolutely,
amazing
absolutely,
to
yes.
me that your
for me, it's
your
more-
lack of gaydar is so spectacular.
Yeah.
That you could be around longer. Like there wasn't a moment where you're like, wait a minute, there is a lot of homosexuals here. And
Well, you
I
know what
am
it was?
not- I do
What it
not
was
see
is
any women.
I definitely saw
And that
men
dude
dancing
is
together.
fucking the shit out of me.
I definitely saw men dancing together.
Are they doing
I just
poppers?
thought, well, this is a club where two men could dance together. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there'd be a difference between like a club that's not going to kick out gays
Are they
versus
filming an
a
anti-meth
gay club.
commercial?
Where
Well,
are all
see,
the women's?
the reason why gaydar exists in the first place is because back in the day, you had to have gaydar
had
to.
to.
Get your groove on. You
Gaydar
had to
was
like,
an essential evolutionary tool. You had to know. You had
Exactly.
to seek it out. It was the love that dared not speak itself, and so it must reveal in other ways,
The
such as a
eyes.
casual glance.
Mhm.
Or
Exactly.
perhaps a faux accent for the sake of a story.
I do think if you were talking like that, everybody would get.
Good
what you were-
evening,
what-
fellows and madams.
Pretty sure this guy wants to blow you, dude.
Perchance someone
Pretty
would be
sure.
willing to have a romp in the sack. And
You are the worst at accents ever.
perchance. What are you talking about? That's my old timey gay.
That's a pretty good. That's
Thank you.
Old-timey gay.
That's my old timey gay voice.
I need
I
a
think
soda,
it's
by
pretty
the
good.
way.
Is Eric? I think it's pretty good.
Oh man.
That's a pretty good old timey gay voice. Come on. The
no.
old timey gay who thinks he's not obvious but is obvious. That's an amazing
Right,
person.
right.
I'm sure that guy existed. I'm sure that before gaydar was really perfected, some dude walked into a tavern and was like, "Good evening, chaps.
Well,
My,
I
you're
do
all
think-
looking very rugged today.
I do think it's an
Good
important
day on the frontier.
an important part of growing up is that
Let me see those forearms. You've
that
been
you're in a
chopping
place
wood.
where a guy offers to blow you, and it could happen, and you go, "Nah, I'm good." Like that's an important part of your growing up, where you
Is
go
it-
like, because that's where you have to take just a moment to yourself, going like, you know what, maybe I'd be into that, you know what I mean, or whatever. And I was like, no, this is.
I think
there'd be no titties for me to play with. I couldn't flip them around and start eating
I think
his
that's definitely
pussy.
how you know that you're not gay.
That's
If you're
kinda
like, if
what
some dude like, hey, let me get you a blowjob, and you're like, yeah, but like, where your titties at? Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like I need.
But if
titties.
a dude had,
even on females,
if he
you know,
had
obviously,
a massive
I need.
pectoral, what if
you
he
know,
had
it's nice.
really well developed pectorals, and then he started dancing them for you?
It's
You're
not-
30% gay.
it's
Remember
not
that
the-
now.
It's not.
Don't forget that.
Don't now forget. You gave
Don't-
yourself
now
that.
don't
percent.
forget. On a scale of 1 to 10, you
No,
are
see,
two
now I'm-
notches removed away from not gay.
Now,
Completely.
perhaps
That is-
we have a different scale here. In my mind, 55% gay is where you're open to blowing.
See, this is a problem with
See
you.
what I'm saying?
You're playing the game.
Now,
that
at
they-
30%, I feel like you just enjoy a lot. Like you could go to the cinema and
call
like
it
you could
cinema.
do what I do. You could go to Sex and the City movie opening day and drink Cosmos in the audience.
Now, here's
And
what I-
you'd be fine.
here's what I
like
say.
that's what I'll do as a 30%
Eric,
gay.
Eric, tell me. Now let's try.
I can
This is
specify
why
colors.
I love that Eric. This is why I love just picking Eric.
That's
brain.
good.
He's
It's
such
fine.
a fountain of wisdom.
Go right ahead.
What I'm trying to say is to do a service to Riffopolis. Pay attention right now. You're gonna learn a real lot about the old gay community here, the old gay agenda.
If you
now,
haven't already.
For Mitch's sake, who is a man that we've established in the real world is 30%.
Wait, by the way, where would you put yourself on the scale?
Huh? Where am I on the gay?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I'm like 8% gay, dude. I'm not even knocking.
8?
Yeah.
8%?
I'm 8% gay.
All right.
I enjoy sweaters.
You do like watching
I
men
get my
run
drink
around on
on.
a field a lot. I'm just telling
I
you
watched
that
enough
right now.
professional wrestling as a child to wrestle with that question. We're like, why am I here right now? Yeah, definitely it's not.
all right.
Really, I was like, this is kind of gay. But like, why? I definitely am not watching it for that reason. So I'm 8%.
I'm curious what 0% is at this point. But go ahead. All right.
It's a man
I'd
who's
put you
dead.
much higher than 8%.
Ain't no man alive who ain't 1% gay.
That's why you got to be more than 8%.
You wrong. But what I want to say, so
right,
Mitch would describe himself as 50, like he would say like, oh, if I was 55% gay, right? But what I'm trying to say is, you're 55% gay to Eric in actual Gayville is like 70% gay. Am I right here? Where like, if a dude
So
comes
then
to you,
I have to alter my percentage down to account for the
because you don't even know what kind of trap that you're walking into. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's how Ted Haggard happened. He's like, I'm only 50. If I was 55% gay, then I would just have dicks all the time. I'm only 30% gay. And the next thing you know, you got fucking male prostitutes and a meth habit, bro. Is what I'm saying. It's that easy.
Clearly,
Eric,
there's
Eric,
a transaction rate
hold on.
that I need to, the conversion rate of what he's considering versus what I'm talking about.
Can you speak to this?
I see where you're going with
Can you
this.
speak to that phenomenon?
But from a personal standpoint, I don't want anybody who's on the fence. I want somebody who knows what.
Who's jumped the fence and is
I
running
want
around
those
looking for
100
dicks.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
100%.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because back in the day, I
Do
had
you have
my
a lot of
share.
friends
I
who
did
like
my,
to
I
chase
I
straight
played tour
dudes?
guide,
Do
and
they-
I was just like, I don't
Do they
wanna,
do that? Like your friends who sort of specialize in like, I'm gonna break them over. And
Yeah, like who wants to do
I
that?
feel like that's
shit?
I feel like that's kind of a very unique. It's a weird, fascinating thing to me because I'm like, it's a really weird pursuit to constantly.
It's definitely a niche. And
Yeah.
I don't. They like to pull people over and kind of be the. Who wants that shit? I don't want to.
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
somebody
I'm
who
with you.
knows what they're doing. I don't want to have to play any of the games that
See,
can
I
happen.
feel like when you're talking about all these things, the various things that you like and so on and so forth, I'm the straight version of you in that regard because I don't
kinda
like
gay.
a woman who's on the fence about like blowing or like a woman who's like, well, I haven't really done that. Could you show me how? Like, I don't want that. Like, give me, a Warren, you know what I mean, who's been around the block,
meaty
and written a
bicep.
few stories about it. You know what I mean? Could show other people around the block for a little while. Like, you know what I mean? I'm with you. Need
But
like
see, my friendships. My friendships.
enthusiastic consent, as they say.
I've always had closer friendships with straight guys than gay guys. So though my straight friendships are so important to me that there's never been a time where I was like, ooh, maybe, I've never been that way.
Right.
I would rather have a friend than somebody I'd have sex with.
So on your scale, it goes friend, blowjob, paycheck. So far, that's what we've got for like order of importance in your life.
We're gonna
I
by
got
the end of
it.
the show, we're gonna put together Eric Hahn's mission statement, and it's gonna be friends, blowjobs, paychecks.
Your pyramid of
No more
needs
sweatshops.
at the top is like
Yeah.
friend.
We've got
And
Maslow's
then one level down,
hierarchy
we've
of
got
needs.
blowjobs, and one level down from that is paycheck, and then somewhere towards the bottom, how do you feel about brie, for instance? Like,
Yeah, right. That's what it is. It's gonna
where
be
does
Brie,
where does
Golden
Vinaigrette
Girls
go on that? Yeah, Zac Efron somewhere in the
Zac
middle
Efron,
there.
ascots.
That's hysterical.
Silk sheets.
All right,
Wait,
so
no.
here's the
Okay.
thing. We talked very briefly before the show, and apparently we do need to reference this subject again because we brought it up on an earlier show, talking about Kevin Clash, Elmo, and maybe I'm just
The now former voice
way
of
too
Elmo, but the creator.
maybe too apologetic on his behalf, but when it comes out like, oh, he was banging out with like 16, 17-year-olds.
Well, let's try it let's set the stage, and because there's a lot of details that have come out now. So let's kind of do a real brief recap before we kind of dive into it.
Well, I'll tell you what the latest I heard. Well, I mean, obviously he stopped being Elmo. There's been quote unquote several, however many that would be, several
There's been
allegations.
at least 4. There's been 3 on the record interview I want to say accusers, but confirmed.
Right. Now, here's the thing: is from the 3 that I heard about, all of them were 16, 17, hanging out either on like gay sex lines or gay chat rooms, talking doing the cyber sexing, as it were. And I gotta feel like 16, 17-year-old dude, if you're like hanging around on gay sex lines, I don't know that somebody's taking advantage of you if they banging out.
So
with you.
well, let's,
I don't
so
know.
what
Maybe
we've
I'm weird
got,
on
well,
that.
there's a good article. There was a good interview on Gawker with a bunch of the different individuals who had confirmed that they had a sexual relationship with Kevin Clash. One of them talked about that there was a lot of daddy-son play.
Yeah, I heard about that. Super creepy. Definitely with you there.
And so, there was also there was a lot of sort of when he was talking about the way they describe it. In one case, he was in entertainment. He was high up in entertainment, and then it kind of became more and more that and you sort of revealed that he was this thing, but of just sort of giving money and helping out a lot of these sort of younger men that he would meet online and I'm not sure, but if there was
the fourth one here says that he had flown him over to New York City a few times for sex and things like this, and I don't know, it's just difficult for me because usually when you hear about like certainly children, that's an entirely different thing, but when you just hear about like younger people and older people, when you're talking like 16, 17, it's funky because it's like it's easy, I'm 34 now, so it's easy for me to say, like, yeah, I would not fucking put my hands anywhere near a 16, 17-year-old. But when I was 16, 17, if, like, a 30-something-year-old chick was like, hey, I'll fly you to New York and you can fuck me when my husband's away or something like that, I'd be like,
yeah, but
yes.
see, that's exactly why I wanted to bring Eric on, and why I'm really glad that we kind of had the conversation that we did to lead up to all of this, because the perspective that you are filtering it through is so radically different from everything that's happening with Kevin Clash and the four men, who have now come forward and talked about their relationships with him, that your cultural experiences and your reference points have almost absolutely no bearing on what was happening on that side of the fence. Because it's so radically different, especially if you are this young gay man who, we talked about one of them was involved with holding up a manager at knife point for jewelry and drug charges or whatever.
Sure.
And you're dealing in this circle with powerful men who are completely in the closet, and they are operating in this entirely just completely non-realistic realm at all. And you've got things like daddy-son play, which you're saying is very You say that's like, well, that's kind of creepy.
No,
and Eric, hold on.
No, because I didn't get a chance to fucking finish what I'm saying.
Sorry,
is
I thought you were done.
No, it's tricky. Because, yes, on the one hand, I think about, like, I wouldn't be, whatever. I can't obviously speak for other people. I can't speak for the gay community. Can't speak for identity issues, any number of things. I don't think it's right. I'm not saying, like, oh, he should be, fuck all these whiners and things like that. I'm not saying that by any means. What he did is, at the very least, creepy as fuck and somewhat immoral. Definitely illegal, obviously.
Eric just
it's tricky in that regard because there is a lot more to it, and that's why I preface it with it's tricky. But I don't know that. I guess it's that thing. If you had to draw a line in the sand, does a 17, 16-year-old boy, young man, whatever you want to call him, does a 16-year-old male have what percentage or whatever have you is he cognizant of his decision making? You know what I mean? How much of it is any kind of like, oh, he made a decision? Go ahead.
He's not.
Go
He's
ahead.
not.
All right.
He's not. He's in that regard. The only people that he can have consensual sex with are people his own age. I mean, I don't think that it's a natural state to be a 35-year-old with a 16-year-old, and that's what keeps.
I'll
us,
agree with you there.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of times when it happens between men and women, it's kind of seen as like a rite of passage. But even heterosexual, it's not. It's not healthy.
Well,
It's
I
not-
can remember. I can remember in high school, like I knew I had 2 or 3 female friends that were dating guys that were, graduated college, and they were talking about 15, 16-year-old girls, and these are 27, 28-year-old guys. And at the time, in high school, I thought he's a little old, But then when I got to 27, 28, looking back, I was like, that is fucking unbelievably fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And those women had this thing. Well, he says I'm really mature for my age. I'm like, yeah. I'm sure he does. And there's a lot of sort of excuses like that. Meanwhile, I had a band in just after high school, and our drummer was we used to call him the 30-year-old gay drummer because what he was. And he was he had like just
46.
an immense fetish for like 16-year-old dudes, like 15, 16-year-old dudes. And on the one hand, it was like, well, that's fucking creepy. On the other hand, the guys were friends of mine. And they were fucking around with other gay friends of mine, and they didn't seem to be all that creeped out by him, even though I would be. They didn't seem to be.
Well, how old?
You know?
How old was he at this time? He would have been how old?
The drummer?
Yeah,
was 30.
Okay, 30. So I mean, I think this is kind
Creepy,
of I think what
but,
you were
you know.
what you're getting at is the way that you classify it as he had a sexual. I don't think it's appropriate to classify that as a fetish so much as that's more reflection of arrested development and being sort of emotionally stunted.
Sure.
And you know,
But we don't look at that way. If in a straight world, we don't have discussions about a 28-year-old, 30-year-old guy and a 17-year-old, 16-year-old chick. We don't necessarily have discussions about how he's damaged in his head. What was that girl we talked about on this show?
Courtney
That's the
Stoddard.
one I'm thinking of.
Courtney
The
Stoddard.
17-year-old, and the other
From
guy was like
couples therapy,
45,
yeah.
48, something.
Right.
That shit is fucking
He's
gross.
older than her stepdad.
But in the state she was from, not illegal. So, you know.
Well, I think the thing is
tricky.
that even a better example than that, and it's a better a comparison. I kind of feel like is if you take one of Adam Sandler's latest movies, That's My Boy, right, with Andy Samberg, and the whole plot is he's just a fucking drunk, rabble-rousing, dysfunctional asshole who back in the 80s was a dropout in high school, whatever. I don't even know if he makes it to high school, but like the whole plot line, I think, is he got a teacher pregnant, you know. And that is Andy Samberg, and he grows up and is trying to be unlike his father. He's real straight-laced. But it's basically just a fucking plot point. The crux of the plot is essentially the adult preying on a child, and everyone glorifies it. And that is a thing that we are like, hey, thumbs up. Yep, we're going to make a movie. Like, that's just a really okay, cool thing to happen, as opposed to a really traumatic thing that happened to that child that fucking terrified them and stunted them emotionally and prevent them from ever growing and maturing. But the problem is that we have too many people, especially in the elite, in the hierarchy, who instead of recognizing that as dysfunction, which is what Eric hit on in the beginning, think that that is a really fucking cool thing. And it's not, because you essentially have someone in power preying on someone who's vulnerable, confused.
Absolutely, yeah.
And especially if you and I think what's very problematic about it is that the gay community in particular in America has sort of endured a lot of crises and a lot of just very low, devastating points.
Well, you've got the difficulty. I think that, I mean, the deal that's being made out of this would not be made if this were a straight man and a straight woman.
I think it also
Or
would not have
vice-
ever.
especially if it was the other way
wouldn't
around.
have. I mean, I think that's it, because it's this peek into a very
I-
unique slice
there
of
is
sexuality and culture.
There is a concern amongst the the fucking gay bashing we can fix gay and all this different stuff. The way they so casually put a link between homosexuality and pedophilia, this is doing it no favors. And I think that's part of the reason there's such a spotlight on this, because those people stand to gain from creating that link and keeping it alive, even though it probably, even in this case, is not there.
What are you gonna say, Eric?
It's I think it's in terms of this instance, it's ironic that he did what he did for a living. I think that it would still be wrong to this degree had he been a plumber, you know.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is that he was in a position where he was entertaining a lot of children. So it's very ironic.
If Anderson Cooper did this, where would we be?
Oh, I mean, well, you know, it would probably be. It would
I
definitely.
mean, he's
be,
older than Kevin Clash, but I'm saying
If Anderson
even
Cooper
still.
did this, then it would be definitely one of the most. That would be a tabloid scandal for the ages.
It would be a
I mean, Anderson
huge-
Cooper's already, you know, tabloid fodder for moving into a firehouse with his boyfriend before he came out. I mean, Anderson Cooper's always been that. So if he had ever had anything like this, it would
Right,
have been
right.
it would have been easily just kindled for the fire.
Well, I'm talking to Eric's point. You know, specifically the Elmo thing, the kids. That's what freaks
Have you? I
everybody
mean, there's
out.
the. Well, I mean, I think
You know.
partially is that Kevin Clash has gotten a much higher profile with the documentary that came out a few
Yeah.
years ago, which is a fantastic documentary, and that's partially why I think it's a very sad state where you get this really amazing peek into what led to the creation of this thing that everyone has this great fondness for. But part of it is that, you know, in the shadows of everything that you're learning about in that documentary is also the same person who has this void in them that needs to be filled by bringing someone in to play out daddy and son issues. That's not, those things aren't disconnected. And to your point, I feel like what the large problem is that we don't have enough institutions or willingness in our media institutions and cultural establishments to allow for viewpoints to come in and explain things from a radically different perspective than what everyone else is sort of used to.
Sure.
Because I mean, it's not like it's not. I mean, you can't you can't have a bunch of heterosexual people who don't know shit about this culture, and they don't know really anything except for the bunch of idyllic fantasies that aren't very realistic at all. They don't know anything about the history. They don't know anything about, you know, fucking from Stonewall to fucking Reagan just giving the thumbs down like it was Gladiator to the gay community after AIDS and just being the worst human being in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, the leader of the free world was like, fuck you, you can die. And you've got an entire generation of people who spring up from that. People like Kevin Clash who are coming out of that shadow, making things like Elmo. And we don't have a media institution that is even fucking capable of grappling with that mentally and then presenting it in a way that other people can digest. Because they don't have anyone like Eric Hahn around. They don't have conversations with people like Eric. People who are fucking grizzled glory hole veterans.
Holy shit!
Put that on the
I've
board.
never done a
Grizzly glory hold veterans.
There's a lot of alliteration there,
You like that?
but I've never done a glory.
Don't
hole.
you dare lie on this show. Don't you dare.
What we have here today on Straight Riffin' for you is Eric Hahn, a grizzly glory hold veteran.
Oh God, that's so sad.
It's not where you want to be.
Oh, not at all.
Well, it's
I know what
it's-
Eric's
it's
was like. I
tricky.
got friends who would like that, damn it, but not me.
Not me. No
Not
way.
me. It ain't me, motherfucker.
I don't like let the record show. I don't even like to piss in bathrooms, in public bathrooms. You know
If
what I mean?
you,
Like,
you
I
will
don't-
drive on past that gas station, won't you?
I
You-
am not. I don't. I think
not
it's
doing it.
filthy. I just think that that's the last
And
place
you don't
I
even
want to
sit
get
down.
my groove
You
on.
don't even sit
Not
down.
no way. I do all that. I do my sit down thing at home.
You sit down to pee a little. You sit down to pee?
No, I do
Oh, I
the
do.
other thing is what
Oh,
I'm
I do
talking
that.
about.
I do
I
that.
don't do that.
Do you
on
sit
the
down to
road.
pee?
Sometimes if I have something to read or if I'm on the phone.
I do that too. You know what I'm saying?
it's fun.
Don't judge me. You know what I'm saying? I probably bet a man was killed many a moon ago for trying to sit down to pee. Someone caught him and he's like, well, I was enjoying myself and they just killed that man. And there's nothing wrong with that man. That man probably worked real hard. He wanted to sit down, rest, okay? Let that man live. That's all I'm saying. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Get some reading
We're
done.
evolved now.
Yeah.
We're sitters. We're squatters.
That puts you a little higher than 8%, by the way.
No, that's
Just
8%.
wanna-
That's
yeah.
8%. I'm factoring that into the 8%. You know what I mean? Without that, I'm probably like 4 on a good day.
Shit.
Oh. Well,
Do I get to factor in every single episode of Dawson's Creek that you watched?
That's opposition research, but that's
Uh-huh.
not gay. That's
Yeah.
that's no that's you know what I'm saying.
All right.
that's just bad TV.
That's knowing. That's
All right.
understanding
All right,
the
man.
world that I'm
All
in.
right.
I need a window.
All right.
Just saying, all these motherfuckers are so sad. I'm like,
This
why are you
fucking
so
guy,
sad?
he won't give up any more than that very small sliver of percent. All I know is I'm secure where I'm at. I'm sorry that you're not.
I guess the one thing though that I'm perfectly scared, baby. Don't worry about me. That's why I watch so much Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill. That's why I can have the conversation that America doesn't want to have about One Tree Hill. Okay, I can have it. You be sitting on the
There's
sideline.
a reason America doesn't want to have the
No,
conversation.
it's because they're
not worth
afraid of
having.
it. No,
It's not
you're
worth
wrong
having.
about that.
There
It's
was
an
no
intersection
conversations about
of
One Tree
so
Hill
much
that are worth
media,
having.
culture,
Not a
and
one.
society.
Nary
if
a
there
one.
was a Roman version of One Tree Hill, I guarantee you they would be talking about it on the way to the Coliseum to watch some Christians be eaten by lions.
I know you did
guarantee
not just compare that.
Yeah,
but
I
okay.
did do that.
Okay.
Run tell that to somebody.
12%.
Why you gonna make me tell me
I'm
the
just
gay out
saying.
there?
I'm
Are
sorry.
you kidding me?
Eric,
No,
when you were 16, 17, was gay just not at all discussed? Where you? I don't know where you come from. Where,
Oh, I come from Ohio. I grew
Ohio.
up in
So that would be a
What
that
part
would be
of-
a
what
yes.
part of
Was not
Ohio?
discussed.
northeast part,
Okay. All right.
and it was very.
I know you weren't looking at
Where are
pussies,
you? Where are
apparently.
Looking at
you?
pussy.
Relation to Cleveland, Columbus. So you're like
an hour south of Cleveland.
Okay, hour south of Cleveland.
Yep.
All right.
And I was closeted for all through high school. But then when I graduated when I was 17, and that's when I first came out to people. But
When
it
did you
wasn't-
first sort of have the idea that you were?
Oh, when I was, I knew I was gay the day I learned to sit up,
No?
like in the crib. Like I just have always been. I just always
You're
have
like,
known.
where are all the dicks?
These bars kind of look like dicks. I better get used to these things.
Well,
I'm
that's
just gonna,
gross. That doesn't taste
practice
good at
on
all.
these, yeah.
I need to find a real.
I just always have known from day one. And
What was that conversation? I'm fascinated. What the conversation was like with yourself. Was it sort of like well, it seems sort of different from what everyone else is appearing to be the norm, or how did that kind of evolve within you to the point that you were like, oh, so this is that thing that I am. Okay, this is the name for it. All right, well,
It wasn't a struggle at all. It really wasn't. I knew my first boyfriend, quote unquote boyfriend, was a year older than me, and I just knew in fourth grade that all I wanted to do was just be with him, and we wanted to get a van and tour the country, and
oh my god,
you know, like
that
we had
is
those kind of
adorable.
talks. I know.
Fourth grade Eric Hahn wanting to run off with someone who was an older man in a van. No wonder you're such a fucking vagabond. you fantabulous bastard.
In 6 more years, we could
You.
get a van.
Some fifth grade fucking just rabble rouser was like, "Come with me."
Be
gotta-
my Starsky. I'll be your Hutch.
Oh my
you know,
god!
That kind of thing.
I gotta go right now. Oh my god! Be my Starsky, I'll be your Hutch. It's going on the board. You just brought all kinds of game right now. You just brought.
I loved it though. I loved being with him. I loved the fact that, you know, that we'd hang out all day together. We built a tree house. We played tennis. We had clubs. We just did all these.
Oh,
things.
it's got to be
And
a
then-
dream at
and
that
then
age.
and then at the
Because
end,
nobody's thinking about that. It's always like, can my
But I
boyfriend
imagine,
sleep
though,
over?
if
They're
you-
like, yeah,
like,
why
imagine,
not? I
like,
don't
if you
care.
both know, like
Yeah,
you
no,
both know
exactly.
and no one else knows that
It's
you're
gotta be
just
a
like,
fucking dream.
You're just like, oh man, we are getting away with murder.
So
right now.
did he go like, we got to knock this off, or did he move away? What happened?
we grew apart in terms of our personality. Like we are so different. And as we grew older, we really grew. The only thing that held us together, basically kept us together, was being, you know, sexual partners. So
Being gay in Ohio.
yeah. So we would just.
Looks like it's just you and me again.
Yeah, I would just.
Not a lot of us around.
I'd call him up periodically and be like, "Hey, you know, do you want to come over or something?" I think that was like the code. You know, do you want to come over? And he'd be like, "Yeah." And he would come over and we would do whatever we had to do. But interestingly enough, we never did like the normal gay stuff. Never fucked or sucked or anything. It was just like
Just making out.
making out, kissing, and
A lot of 30% action. Boom! I did it again.
Making gay plans at least at 60%. All right? Want to point that out.
And your
55 is like 55% would be like wild hair up your ass.
You gotta
Like
adjust for geography.
60% or higher is like you're making plans.
it's not like. Well, I just think I find it interesting.
If
in
there's
terms
not
of-
money involved, that might be closer to 70%.
No, but listen, in my just looking back on
Fuck
my
you.
development, though, like it's interesting that we didn't really have a desire to do that. We kind
More
of
about kind of intimacy of
You still talk
we
to him
just
at all
kinda-
by chance?
we're Facebook friends.
Oh, yeah.
He's big as a house. He got so fat. And he's got like a gazillion kids, and
Oh, he went straight? Or
Yeah.
did he just adopt?
What is that?
he married, and
Is he straight or is he?
Or is he straight with air quotes?
I think.
Now this is the thing. I'm glad that you kind of touched on this because I'm fascinated by something, and I would love to hear more about this from you. But I feel like, and it's one of those things that we were kind of touching about earlier. With in the 21st century, you've got all these different forums now on the internet where people who otherwise, kind of like we talked about in the last episode, where the internet is a lifetime of sexual exploration in a month.
Sure.
You've essentially got people who can now live a life where, even if they may know it intrinsically, kind of like you did in a much different era, and you were just like, oh, okay, like I happen to have this friend, but like now you can grow up and you're like, well, I'm into this thing, and I can meet people and talk about it and figure out all these weird things, and it's this much easier experience. But I feel like there's this thing with a lot of dudes who are straight, but like enjoy either like sucking dick or something like that,
or even watching it online,
right? Or but like in some way, like a thing that would have previously been like, oh my god, you're like crazy gay. They're like, no, I have a wife, I have a family, but like as part of my sexual sort of persona and who I am, I enjoy that or whatever. And is that something that you've kind of? I mean, it's a kind of fascinating thing for me because I'm like, well, that's a really weird kind of evolved sexuality, I feel.
Well,
like.
there's the men of my generation are more like me. Like they if they wanted to have families, if they wanted to have kids, they married a woman. So that, and then now
they're trying to do the beard thing.
Yeah, now they're living like this double life, which must be awful. I can't imagine ever living.
It's gotta be soul crushing.
But I think younger guys now, there's a lot more fluidity between what is gay and what is straight and what.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to try and because you can try to imagine that conversation with your wife or fiance or girlfriend or whatever she is, and you're like, listen, like I love you, I enjoy sex with you, it's awesome. However, maybe we could bring a dude in and we could share the dick. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's
I would think if you could, if especially that feels like something you should
because I feel like
you
that's
should
where you
spring
get
on
to
them
knock
early.
on the
But
old
if you had
30%
that situation worked out, that would probably be. I mean, that's got to be heaven for all involved.
Right. Well, like
that's
that's the beauty of like, and if you would think about
like,
it,
I would be all right being exclusive with a woman who liked fucking around with chicks. Like I'd be cool with that.
But I mean, you've got a lot more
I mean,
arrangements now with people who
because
we have this ability to explore sexuality in such a much more honest way and a much
Everybody's
more
a
vulnerable
freak.
way. Well, I mean, yeah, it's precise. Let your freak flag fly. Freaks come out at night, if you will.
But I think straight guys love the idea of two girls together a lot more than a straight woman likes the idea of two
Absolutely.
guys.
Right, and
Absolutely.
that's what I think is very interesting. Where like you've got like, and it's kind of like you're mentioning the niche sexuality of gay men who like bringing over straight men. I've got to imagine. I mean, I think it's very fascinating that we've reached this sort of age and era where you've got niche sexualities that are allowed to not just
We
flourish.
call it niche, so I don't think you keep talking to me.
Niche? Is it niche? Is it niche?
I just
Is
every
it
time
niche?
somebody
One
says niche,
thing-
I'm like, what? Oh, never mind.
That made me think of something that you may be unaware that there exists, but there is such a thing as straight porn that's produced just for gay men.
Yeah, Playgirl.
No, gay. There's straight porn. There's porn movies.
Wait.
That it's a whole company that all they do is they produce straight porn for gay guys.
How does that work exactly?
They choose
a lot
really
of ball
good looking
shots from the back. Yeah.
really good looking guys because there's
Do you
a
know how
whole-
distracted Eric got when you said ball shots? He lost all sense. He's like, there's a lot of oh balls. What? Oh my god.
Where was I?
Oh my god.
Who are you?
Balls.
Where am I
oh
right now?
Jesus. Oh Christ. That was like a long 2 seconds.
Because I
in your
have
brain.
seen
He totally balls. Damn.
I have seen bisexual porn
of
that,
the
you know,
balls.
in that sense. Like I've seen we had a movie when we used to just like go to the porn store when we were bored and like pick up the the dollar bin stuff just for the titles. And one we had was Gilligan's Byland. And
Oh
right.
man.
And I remember I was like, how would
A
this
young
be?
Eric Hahn would have
I was
picked that
thinking,
up.
how
Don't
is this
front.
any different
I have it at
from
home.
just like your standard fare? And the difference is in a straight porn they'll do the ball shot once in a while, but for the most part that's not where the camera's at. In the what you're talking about straight for gay, which would include Gilligan's Byland. Most of it was from behind, right? And you're watching it, and then all of a sudden another cock comes in and goes into that guy. And you're like, okay, now I get it. I get the difference. There's not a lot of like...
Wait, is that... I would love to just see a video of Mitch watching this be like, oh, yep, there it is.
There it is. That's exactly what I did.
That must be the gay part.
What was funny... What was funny was I was watching it for that, like at that moment, and then I was like, this is hilarious. I rewound it about a minute.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Well, this is...
30%,
I had my roommate.
I keep telling you, Eric.
Shush. So my roommate, who's like, I'm still convinced he's a closet, but he comes downstairs, and I was like, you got to see this scene, and he's watching this chick, and he's like, I don't see what's... Oh, my... And he, like, just couldn't... Like, he couldn't hang. He was like, don't ever do that to me again. He got, like, super serious, and I was like, look, buddy. Like, you know what I mean? He's one of those, like, certain things would happen, and he'd be like, no, that's...
So
that is
skittish.
not okay. And I was like...
That's a big red flag.
That's what I'm saying, you see?
Big red
But I feel
flag.
like I see, like, this is why I can say pretty safely that I'm 8% gay. Because I had a run in
You should pick something that doesn't sound like 10 times higher than it is. Because every time you said 8, I hear 80. Because 8's tricky like that.
Because you have a really
you say, like,
out of whack
that's why I say I'm
numerical
8%
system in
gay.
place. Yeah.
When I say, this is why I say I'm 8% gay.
It's
like,
a real
it sounds for a
empirical...
second you hear 80.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I mean, projection is a hell of a drug. What it was... I had a lot of
8%
dudes
my
that would
left
hit on
nut.
me when I was at debate tournaments, and between rounds.
He
and
is
I
a
would
master debater in front of those men.
You're very
Hey-yo. Hey.
Hey.
I haven't used that joke since I was 8.
It was actually presented with a certificate from the debate team that said master debater, and I was like, "You've taken this far too.
Yep.
This is poor. This is poor choice." But I would be like between rounds before it started, and then I would we'd just be hanging out, and I would just be just sitting around looking over notes, and then all of a sudden they would just start asking me questions about like my suit or whatever, just like random things, and I was like, "Are you? Is this?" And I wouldn't say that out loud, but in my head, and then for like there was a streak of like seven tournaments over the course of like 7 weekends in a row when I would just go back to my team, and I was like, all right, well, it just happened again. So like, I really do not understand what it is that is happening. And then there was this one time that I was in high school when we were doing production of Fiddler on the Roof. It was like the first production of the year. It was a musical, and I was just working on the run crew for it, so I'm not doing anything. And there was this dude who was he was black and he had real good hair. I'll say that about that. He had real good hair. And so
8%.
Yeah. Please help me out on this, Eric. It is creeping higher, right? I mean, I'm not crazy here. All right, go ahead. Daddy. Go ahead, 8%.
I'll give you 10. I
Wow.
don't cap out there. Otherwise, I'm walking out and I'm going to zero, Bill.
All right.
I'm killing. I'm out.
So you're saying you'd make out with 1/3 as many men as I would, apparently.
So like I was on my way to we had the auditorium where we were putting it on, then we had our normal theater where we have like user productions, and so I was going.
Wait,
to get
you were in
something from there.
theater?
It wasn't theater, man. I was a theater nerd.
Well,
no, don't you dare! I hate musicals. They're gross. I hate Rent. So that makes me like 8%. I feel like I loathe Rent.
Rent has not aged well at all. I
loathe-
loved it when it first came
I
out.
loathe Rent. You got to put me real low, bro. I've always hated Rent. So
you've seen it.
So this
I've never seen it. I know,
This
but
guy-
I had enough people around me that
right,
if you're in theater, you just know Rent. Even if you hate Rent,
In
you know
theater.
Rent. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead, because I have something. I have a.
I know
One
why
thing
you
I
were
wanna
hit on
say.
so much, though. I know why you
However,
were hit on.
so this guy, this is way after school. We're having a rehearsal. It's close towards putting on production, and this guy happens to be walking in the hallway from the theater to the auditorium as I'm going the other way, and he stops me, and he goes, "Hey, do you like dance?" And I was like, "What kind of dance are we talking about here?" And he's like, "Oh, jazz, ballet, tap." And I was like, "No, bro, I'm not too big a dance fan." And I just kept walking, and like the whole way, I was like, what? I remember it so well because I was like, that was very just like I'm taking
Coded.
a chance. It's me and him in the hallway, and I'm fucking going for it because I feel like there's enough of a chance. And I was like, this dude really just took a really poor approach. Your gaydar is real off, son. But go on. Why do you think that happened?
Can I say something very quickly? I will say, in spite of your reaction to women hitting on you is identical to what you just described as men hitting on you.
Anyone hitting on me, you know why?
I know. I'm just saying that it's, when you get right down to it, you have the same reaction either way.
Yeah, but for
Which is
women,
like-
it at least
which is
makes
you'll
sense.
walk
It
away,
makes
you'll go to a
sense if
friend and
woman
you'll say,
hits on me because I'm
"Hey,
like, you have a chance.
Were they just hitting on me? And you have to go
If a
like,
woman,
yes, Teddy,
yeah, but
you
if
were
a
just
dude
being
hits
hit
on me, I'm like, oh, my man. Like,
Right.
come
This
on.
is not to say anything of your sexuality.
Yeah.
Just a funny note.
Okay.
That even then you were still
I'm
like,
equally anyone
it's
hits on me, I'm just
You have to
confused.
hold up a neon sign that says "I'm hitting on you." Apparently.
Yeah, no doubt.
Tip for the women out there. All right, Eric, go ahead. You were saying?
I think a lot of the reason why you were hit on so much is that you're an engaging, well-spoken, funny, good-looking guy. So when other guys,
Oh, I always
see
still
that-
get hit on all the time as well. By the way, I just want to point that out. Men all the time. I mean, all the time. Sorry.
But
Go
no,
ahead.
back. How long ago was that? Was that when you were in high school?
That was when I was in high school, yeah.
So they were responding to.
Yeah, me too. Like 5 times a day. Like,
I was in high school for like 7 years.
They were responding to all of that as they were taking those as clues that you might be gay, just because you probably dressed well.
14%.
You
Sorry, I have a cough. Is this-
you
I had a
looked
suit. I had a
good.
suit.
You were
I had a suit
friendly.
on. I had a
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wore a
It's just
suit in
like-
high school too. What do you know?
Debate tournaments, man. You got to
Oh, I
wear
just
you're
wore suits for
evolved
fun.
enough, though. You were evolved enough to take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
And not be
Well,
scared.
I've
and not
always been one of my in my old apartment complex. My good friend Tom. Hello, shout out to Tom.
Hope he's out of the closet.
He is. Tom is a fantastic man. But he always like one time I came down and we had a pool area by our apartment complex, and he would always like make jokes with me and stuff, and he's great. But I was still trying to button up my shirt, and I was wearing a button down. And he just I was on the other side of the pool, and he was having a conversation. He just kind of was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh my god, that is like, oh my god, you are leering."
Did you just
Yeah,
insert?
right.
Did you just fuck me with
yeah,
your
right?
voice?
I was like, "Damn, good thing there is a pool between us because this is terrible." But I've had times when I was like walking to shows at Formosa, and it was Pride weekend, and some dude was like, "Do you know where a good bar is in the scene?" And I was like, "What scene are you talking about, man?" And I was like, is it really? And then right after he left, this car full of dudes that were just very drunk just started yelling things. And I was like, oh my God, is this what we put women through all the time? This is awful. You motherfuckers are the worst. I was just so, that's why I was like, damn son, is it really that, am I really putting it off like that on the gaydar, Eric? Is it really that popping off?
No, it's just men respond to physical stimuli. You're a good-looking guy, and if you're in the neighborhood,
Hey, you with the
you're
dick.
blend. Yeah, it was just like if
You're not doing yourself any favors leaving in West Hollywood and wearing the rainbow bracelet. Also.
Oh, I'm sorry for trying to help a motherfucker out.
No, look, I'm with you.
We're good, really.
I thought that was like if I had
Noma's gonna do his own thing.
if I had a lot of public exposure, I would probably wear one as well. But then I think about I'm not famous or anything, and
You know
so
what's crazy, though,
I would I would avoid doing it because I'm a small framed man. I use my hands for talking a lot. As you talked about in your list, somebody who does a lot of hand movements. I do a lot of hand movements. I could have an hour-long conversation about the greater points of Sex and the City. I know what a Cosmo tastes like and how to make one. So, I can't go wearing no rainbow bracelets. Otherwise, I'm really teasing, and I don't want to be a tease, you know? Nobody likes a tease.
Do you know how gay it is to say I'm a small framed man? That is so gay. That is so.
That's
I've never,
that's a step up from saying you're petite.
Yeah, good times, good times. My point is, I would not be doing myself any favors by wearing any rainbow bracelets. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god!
I'll march in the parade. I'll sign the document. You know what I mean?
We need to take that clip and
I will hold.
That
I will
could be a
hold up
Christian
your,
Mingle commercial. I am a small framed man, God fearing man. Just look
I'm
at
just point that out right now.
that man. It's gay. He's gay. Don't let that God talk for you. He loves a good wang bone. Oh my God!
I wear a lot of suits.
I cannot believe you just described yourself as a small framed man.
I'm gonna mute your fucking mic so fast your head's gonna spin.
Please don't. That's one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. I'm so so good.
Teddy's crying over here.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. Oh, man. I need to take a moment. It's so
Oh,
good.
that's
I didn't know it was
funny.
that good. Jesus.
So good.
I have to listen to this later. Sad thing is, I have no idea. Sometimes
you built
when-
up such momentum, and then all of a sudden you just slipped it in, and that's when someone like Eric was like, "Got you."
Well, I was trying to. I was struggling in my head. I was like, how do I phrase this without it sounding incredibly?
Oh, and you certainly can't.
But apparently, I did myself zero favors yet again. That's fine. Whatevs. So anyway, when you're 16, 17 years old, if you would have met, let's say, a 19, 20-year-old gay man, would you have been like, no, that's just creepy?
I would have been afraid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would have been afraid. I mean, I can remember when I was in junior high and even younger, and guys would give me that look, like older men would give me that look like they were gonna, devour me.
Right.
It scared the hell out of me.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like
Wow.
I have friends of mine and that are my age that just dove into those type arrangements just willy-nilly. Like they liked it.
Yeah.
And I was there's no way. I was too afraid. I wasn't comfortable with that at all.
Do you to this day try? Do you date strictly not the same age as you exactly, but do you go up or down usually on the scale?
I've always gone up, but now that I'm in my
4th
40s
grade, Eric.
Well, no, now that I'm in my 40s, now I tend to, like the youngest I'll go is like maybe 27. You know what I mean? But that's what am I going to talk about with someone
I'm
who's
with you.
27?
I'm with you.
They might be mature for their age.
No, look,
Look
I
at
have
that. Oh, my God. That's such a disgruntled face. You get out of here. Been too many glory holes for that bullshit.
I've had that problem with, I'm 34. If I go on a date with a girl who's like 22, 23, and, sometimes I'm like, you remember what? No, I guess you don't.
It's just not,
There's a lot of-
enjoyable. It's
A
not.
lot of things like that, yeah.
It's
I mean,
not
I'll grin and bear it. I mean, I'll power through.
You know what I think? Well, I think that's interesting, though. How much have you encountered daddy-son play? Is that, like, as a thing? I mean, how, like, prevalent is that as something that's...
It happened a lot when I was in my 30s.
Yeah?
The minute I crossed over to my 30s, I could not. I had dick everywhere. Like,
Really?
just coming out of the woodwork. Just
Trying to
young
work
guys.
here.
Was it from unexpected?
just like-
where you just like...
I can't see the screen. Could you
You?
move your dick, please?
You?
Thank you.
You
I
with the
was
dick?
just I mean there were guys that that were like 20
they
and
all gay,
21
or
year
were
old guys.
they-
Yeah, they were gay guys because I lived in Boston at the time.
Oh,
and
I see. So
in the
they
gay
wanted you to
community.
be the daddy issue.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And
I
I'm
got
just
it.
like, Daddy, I'm still looking for a daddy. What do you mean?
Right.
I am not ready to be anybody's daddy.
You see this wallet right now?
Yeah. You see the moths coming out of this wallet.
Right. Do you know why you're eating ramen right now? Because you're good looking. Now hurry up and finish so we can go.
I did date. I remember I dated seriously. I dated a guy who had just turned 21, and I was 31, and he was really just skittish and all over the place. And I just felt like, man, this is not going to go anywhere.
Right.
You know, and I like at 3 a.m, I'd wake up, I'd find him in the kitchen just fucking juicing everything with my juice machine. You know what I mean? Like doing goofy shit like that and just naked, like just fucking.
Oh, that's it.
carrot
Yeah,
juice.
I mean, that's a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit.
You know,
Honey,
it's
get the camera. The gay man juicing in the kitchen
Because
again.
I think the thing that's really interesting is like if that's what I think. If it was a straight sex scandal with Kevin Clash, right?
Right.
And it leaked out that someone was doing father-daughter ish, play.
Oh, that'd be super creepy. Yeah.
Right, that would be the lead almost. That wouldn't be
yeah.
kind of like buried as like a also ran point. I feel like
Sure.
Sure. But or if it was vice versa, it was mother son or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like people would be like, well, that's incestuous. That's like oh,
I mean,
like,
even
we would. I feel like the conversation
Even in all
that
those
would be
teacher
more
scandals, you
Right.
you never heard about that. And if you did, it'd be like, well, okay, now this is fucking,
right. And I
yeah.
feel like those dynamics that are much more kind of and it's one of the things that LGBT sexuality.
I have
is so
one
much,
time. I've one time been having the doggy style sex, and then I put a hand on her ass to like you got to prep make
almost
sure she
sounds
knows
like
what's coming.
Dick Clark.
And she turned around and she said, "Spank me, daddy." And I was like, "All right, we're done here. We can pack
Wow.
up your shit and go." Like I was just like, nah, I don't
Can't
play
enjoy
that.
that.
Like I can't get into like I know you're trying to be cute, but like no, just it's it's at the very least super cheesy and stupid, and I can't, like, I don't have funny sex. You know what I mean? So at the very least, if that.
Hey, bitch, get out of here with all these jokes. Don't you see my erection?
Listen.
I'm trying to have sex.
You take your goddamn clown nose and your big ass shoes,
Right.
get the fuck out of my house.
Bringing all this humor. I'm talking about coitus, bitch.
Trying to get my fuck on. You're over here with your goddamn.
What's wrong with you? Take your
none of that.
jovial ass out
shit,
of here.
motherfucker.
Here's some cab fare. Go to an open mic.
No,
Giving you the light.
not having that shit.
See that?
No,
Yeah, that's why I keep them red lights in my bedroom.
That's ridiculous.
that's basically what I was. No, I didn't like kick her out. I just was like,
You're a better
we
man
don't.
than
I
me.
just said you don't play that game. I was like, nah.
The whole idea of role play makes me so uneasy.
It's so
and
cheesy,
uncomfortable.
right? Like at the very
Oh,
least,
just-
it's
I
cheesy.
get really like role play is a weird thing for me. Like buy in, like and like I can do it, but like to do it, I have to have a really big talk with myself. Like, all right, like okay, we're just gonna wear. Like first of all, like I just you gotta.
What if
I'm not gonna
what
be
if-
sober?
What would you
Oh,
do
yeah, you
if
can't-
what
I
if you were Teddy, you were banging it out with some white chick and she started throwing out racial slurs? What do you do?
I mean, first of all,
No good?
I would have done my due diligence well before to prevent that situation from happening. If it did happen, let's say she
Do
fell
you
through the
now or
cracks.
have you in the past ever thrown out racial slurs in the bedroom?
Right, yeah. How fond of you of racial epithets during coitus? Oh, very fond. Well, I would like
gotta
to buy
say-
you a drink. I would. That's one of those things that like,
I don't know.
When I've
if
seen
I was fucking a
videos-
black
I've seen
chick and
videos
she
of that
wanted me to like
before.
start throwing out racial slurs, I'd be probably way into that.
I've seen
I
a
gotta
lot of
be
videos
honest.
of that before, and it's really just one of the most uncomfortable things. And it's a really weird dynamic to engage in, and the willingness to want to engage in it is kind of disturbing to me, and it would be in a way that would prevent me from having any kind of pleasure from the situation. And that's for the situation that you described, with if it's a white woman and she's just hurling out whatever, and I'm just like, oh, a little bit uncomfortable. Or whatever.
What if it's an Asian girl? Is it okay then?
Really, at that point, I might go on the Silk Trail and
All right.
Marco Polo on.
Got it.
No, I would not.
Just none of that white bitches doing
right.
shit like
you know
that.
What I'm saying?
No,
Yeah,
they-
if you
you know what I'm
Cherokee
saying?
or
That's-
whatever, I let it slide. But
Hey, where the white women at?
but no, I mean it's
Choose
really
a white pussy.
it's really it's tough, but I think that's a thing that I would not be comfortable with that in any way, really. But I mean, it's like, and it's kind of weird though, because like there is that, like there's the whole like cuckolding thing or whatever, and like it's like there's all these subsets of it, and it's just like, it's a very fascinating weird thing to see people sort of engage in that, where you're that committed to that kind of thing, and I'm just it's a weird. I mean, as I've told you before, people in sex are weird, and for me, that's a very, very strange thing to kind of behold. Where it's like, all right, well, like, what's kind of like going unexpressed? Because I feel like the more and more, and the older I get, and the more you just kind of really look at everything, you've really got, almost sort of, 3 different personas that people have, where you've essentially got your more sort of average, prototypical human persona, and then maybe like a more creative persona or what have you, and then you've got, I guess 4 maybe, and then you've got whatever corporate persona if you're trapped in that world and you're trying to survive like the slave that you are, and then you've got your sexual persona, and your normal persona and your sexual personas oftentimes will not reconcile with each other in any kind of congruent way.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating for me to sort of see, again, someone who is a Kevin Clash, for example, right? Who, if you watch the documentary and you see his dedication to creating puppets and his creativity and his expression and what that meant to him and his ability to sort of reach that Jim Henson workshop and how that childlike wonder really played into him creating this thing that sparked so much enjoyment for people in the world. But then he's got this sexual persona that is so less developed intellectually and maturity-wise than his other persona. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest things that you're seeing a lot of in the 21st century, is that we are actually in a place where we are appreciating that people have different sexual personas from what may be on the surface as their sort of everyday person, and
That's always been like kind of my I don't want to say like addiction, but it's been like that.
Hobby horse.
One of my favorite fucking things in the world is like watching somebody transform from normal into sexual, and
You're
so
a
it's been-
deviant.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
You're a regular
go
Marquis de Sade.
Like, I mean, you know,
You would have died during
there's
the
been
Spanish
a few women in my life where like they just seem so fucking normal that I was like just so like they could just walk into the middle of a banquet and nobody would blink an eye. That I'm like, being the way I am, I'm like, why would you want to be anywhere near somebody like me?
But I see this,
that's what fucks me up. And then of course there's that switch gets flipped, and I go,
But I think,
that's where she was hiding.
I think if you're a
That's
member of
fascinating.
society and you're an adult, you need to be functioning at a level where you're able to discern what is appropriate behavior.
Right.
And it's not
And
appropriate to steal from somebody who's 16. It's not appropriate to take
prey on
that-
the youth and innocence.
to take that experience away from them and to have that impact on their life. It's not fair. It's an uneven playing field.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think that's the thing that I feel like the Kevin Clash situation exposes, and one of the things that, especially with American culture and society, that has gone unaddressed for so long, is what it is to grow up as a young gay man in America. And for a long time, it was an entity. It was an exercise where the state literally was condemning you to death. And I remember watching a video in health class, or it was a PE in middle school, and it was a health video, you know, and it was about AIDS, and it was terribly, terribly produced. It looked like it was from the late 70s, early 80s. And, you know, it ended with these people talking about AIDS, and, you know, and then, you know, this black dude with an afro and like 2 white kids. And then the black dude was like, but don't worry, only homosexuals could get AIDS. And this was like, I mean, it's like late 90s in Texas, man. And I remember looking around being like, surely we have, like, are you shitting me right now? And just, I was like, and I would think about all the different levels in the chain of command that had failed to have reached this point.
Sure.
And so I feel like it's, you know, it's very, yeah, there are a lot of similarities between sexuality, between, you know, whichever realm you kind of want to cross in, from lesbian to gay to, you know, heterosexual. But, you know, there's some sort of universal truths, but there are also some really specific things, because certain communities have dealt with very unique scars. And I think one of the tragedies of the gay community in America is that so many people like Kevin Clash never had an environment where they could come into their sexuality in a nurturing, safe, compassionate fashion. And as a result, now we've got 4 young men who, you know, who have been sparked on who knows what kind of cycles downward, or they have been placed in a position where they have affected other people, and we have a whole cycle continuing where no one can really come into their own and mature sexually and realize their ability to flip the switch on and off, and to go from one aspect of being this kind of member of society and then being okay with enjoying something and not feeling like a deviant. And I think it's much more tragic. I mean, I don't want to say much more tragic, but it's,
I want to get off the topic anyway, because we had a million other things to talk about.
Do we, Mitch?
But we do in this country. What we need is we do need.
Damn you, Reagan!
You do
He
need
has
more.
so
We
much
do need
blood
more
on his hands.
people.
I swear to God, I'm gonna
We
kill
do need
Ghost
more
around
people in
Reagan.
power that are gay. If for no other reason.
Eric Hahn for city council.
There you go. If for no other reason than to handle situations where like this, because there is, you know, there's a lot of immoral shit going on, wrong stuff. There definitely needs to be some judgment and shame, but I don't want that on top of an already big, thick shame cake of like, and you're gay. And I feel like that's where it's like everybody casting aspersions. There's a part of me that goes, how much of this is just you dirty faggot, and then how much of it is also this is immoral because this is a younger person. So, you know, that's the tricky part of the thing. I want to move along here.
Right.
Happier news. Kottke.org. Don't know if anybody.
By the way,
reads.
we've had this picture of Tom Cruise.
I
and his
know. I
low-hanging
feel really
nipples
bad for a moment
for
there.
like
I
an
was like-
hour and a half.
I'm
Just like
sorry,
every time
Eric.
I look over, I'm like, oh my God.
Disgusting.
Get this.
There you
Like,
go.
no wonder
Sorry.
Eric has been studying this. If he ever came across this one night drunk on Google, no wonder he was like fucking Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory. He just fucking just went down the rabbit hole forever.
Okay,
Don't you
so-
see? It's just like Madonna. Sometimes she looks good, sometimes she looks like a crow screamer. Like, you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get with her. You know that phenomenon that I'm talking about.
For sure. I just went and saw her actually at the
Oh, did
Staples
you?
Center.
How
My
was that?
friend took it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing with the interesting thing
sorry.
about Madonna is that she's fast approaching that tipping point. You know, because when you're watching her,
The gays would know.
you can't help but think, you know,
Why are you?
there's you know it's Madonna in
There's
a
a dried up old
cheerleading
queen
outfit,
hiding inside of her.
but it's a 54-year-old woman in a cheerleader outfit. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just
It's a very
Madonna
weird-
anymore.
Right.
It's-
Well, like, okay, now the stage
It's weird.
persona
She
is
was
starting to break.
she was more mature in her like mid-30s when she was doing like Blonde Ambition and more like the almost BDSM kind of stuff. Like she was like a grown-up woman, and then somehow, yeah,
Now
once she
it's
had
kinda
kids, she's like, oh hey, I'm actually 15.
Yeah, she's trying to turn
Yeah.
it back a little bit, and it's just, I mean, it was just kind of sad.
Is
Even
that
though
on the
she-
agenda?
even though she's moving like a dervish.
Is
like
there
she
going to
was
be a
whirling
gay
dervish.
intervention on behalf of Madonna? Where
Someone
you're
gonna
gonna-
sit her
Madonna,
down
we're
and
gonna
go,
have to talk.
Eventually, she's gonna go to her dressing room. At
You
one
don't
of the
have a lot
concerts.
left. You got Madonna and Cher. None of the
Well,
younger.
Where
crop,
are you on Gaga?
Like you know, Britney
Yeah, that's
Spears
right.
didn't really
Give me a
kinda-
grimace.
yeah,
I
those-
don't want to hear again. anymore.
Gaga. I forgot about Gaga. Yeah, you got those.
Britney's
three.
kind of starting to become very.
Is she
campy.
really? All right.
I don't
She's
know.
a train wreck. I think Britney. We watch Britney like we watch Lindsay Lohan. We just watch.
You know what
them
it
to
is? There's a
self-destruct.
real
It
deficit.
seems
in
like
terms
there
of-
were more of them back in the day.
Well,
it seems
there was
like
a lot of
your Greta
prospects.
Garbos and your.
I'll say this. I'll say this. For
I don't
the,
know that many more
for the
because
20
I'm only at 30%.
for the
but
modern.
I
for
know
the
there's a
modern
lot
crop,
more.
I would say there were a lot of prospects who, without the sort of knowledge and wisdom and grace of the elders, have fallen hard very quickly. And there's very few people who you can look at them and be like, in 30 years, you'll definitely be in a very legitimate and respectable position, and not some sort of high-profile beggar. You know, I feel like that's what's happening. Like
I would like to see more kind of fascinating
Beyonce is probably the top of the
icons
litter, I
for
would
that.
say.
You know what I mean?
Well, because
Are you a
I
Beyonce
it
fan?
has a lot to do. Yeah.
Look at that. He just. I was like, I basically was like, do you want a blowjob? And he was just like, come on, son.
What?
Come on. My Burger King, do I want a Whopper? Yeah.
Who isn't a fan of Beyonce? Like
You almost said
she-
blowjob. Don't even. I heard you.
I'm a fan of blowjobs, not a fan of
Yeah,
Beyonce.
you raised your hand at the wrong time.
You said Beyonce. I was like, hey, not a fan. Not a fan.
Well, I think it comes down.
I do agree
I
that
think
if you
comes
like it, you
down
should
to
put a
the
ring on it,
parents.
though.
I think any starlet right now who's fucked up to a point where she's really destroying herself, i.e., Lindsay Lohan, i.e., Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus. These are all people that are being, directed by white trash parents who are leading them down the wrong path. I think it's their parents.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point there.
Get a handle on your kids, America. All right, I'm moving on to happier news. So on kottke.org, KOTTKE.org, he's just a sort of a blogger guy. Been around for years, but he had made a prediction earlier this year that Made in the USA would be making a comeback. That'll become a thing again. And sure enough, it's becoming a thing again. You got not just his list, but big news. Apple is going to manufacture their Macs in U.S.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, there's actually already a few iMacs on the market. People have shown like pictures where it says "Made in the USA" on the back and stuff like that. So they're moving more of that operation over for everybody, complaining about the China thing. Insourcing, good stuff. Was talking with a hard-nosed Republican last night, and I said, he was talking about the economy, always worrying about the economy and all this different stuff. I said, there's a trend now of insourcing, bringing jobs back to America, bringing manufacturing jobs. He's like, I've heard nothing about this. I was like, really? You didn't hear that Apple's going to start?
Those
course
kind
not.
of
Of course
sources,
not.
man. They don't fucking.
Of course,
it's all over the
liberal
internet,
shit.
though.
Yeah, but it's not just Apple. There's
Where
a
you fucking
there's a
liberal
company-
commie fags hang out.
a guy in the for the I think it was on Slate. Farhad Manju was writing about American Giant, which is a clothing company. He says they make the best hoodie in the world at a decent price. More expensive than I would spend on a hoodie, but when I was reading about all the stuff that
How do you even make the best hoodie in the world?
here's one of the things that
This is-
this is one of the things I thought was fascinating. There's like an extra bit of elastic just on the side so that when you're like reaching your hands up, it's not getting all bunched up and pulling up. It stretches down. That's a pretty good. There was a lot of stuff that I was reading. It was like,
Sounds like it's
they
easier
put
to
a lot of
commit
work
crime.
into this hoodie. Let me just put it out there. They put a lot of work into the hoodie.
So when you be reaching into your pants,
Let's see.
you be caught up with no fucking sleeves and shit.
I don't know. There's
No,
more.
but yeah,
There's more on
it's a good
Kotkey,
point.
so it's good. It's,
Well, I mean, I
shit's
think
coming back to
that's
America.
one of the things that I think is really interesting is that for a lot of the bitching that people make about, because Apple took its stock price took a hit for whatever part of the day when it was first announced, and people are worried about the cost or whatever. But if you really look into the examples of people who've brought labor over from China to the U.S., companies actually end up saving in terms of their costs because you've got a really incoherent production plan with Chinese labor in the sense of people just using extra parts to make things, and there's no real coherent repairability there. And so there was an example, I forget the company, but they make hot water heaters. They brought their manufacturing over to America again. So they did a real breakdown. They essentially found out that a fifth of the parts could be eliminated, saving on cost because they were just absolute garbage, and then completely redesigned the hot water heater so it was easier for them to go in and fix later on. So you get all these costs in the sense of, we might take a bullet in this run, but like we can totally redesign the product and make it more efficient to build, give people a nice quality of life, and in the long run, everyone wins in that sense. You also don't get the situation that we have in places like Bangladesh where factories go up in flames because Walmart is, getting its fucking third world slave labor on, and that factory burns to the ground, 170 people die, and then we find out that the fucking Marines have clothing being made there, even though they didn't sign off on it, but somehow, because we've
I would think like if you're just a mean old Mr. Mr. Moneybags businessman.
Moneybags McGillicuddy.
Hey, that would be the worst name to have, though, right? Like just everybody knows. Hey, you got some money? Like, no, I'm only Moneybags McGee or whatever.
Only if you were poor, bro. Only if you were poor. But like, damn, do you not see how destitute I am? I live under the fucking underpass. My parents hated me.
I changed my name to No More Moneybags.
My parents were so poor they named me Moneybags in the hope that I would somehow bring them money.
One of the things that commonly happens in China, especially with technological products, especially with Apple products, is that it's already been made in a factory. It's super fucking easy for that factory to turn around and make their own fucking Apple offshoots. So it's like there are iPhone 5 knockoffs before America is buying legitimate iPhone 5.
They're fake Apple stores.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah, I've seen them.
You walk in, you think they're Apple stores, and it's not.
And if it's getting made over here, it's a good 6 to 8 months before we even ship one over to China.
Well, it's just amazing. It's like if you were really just trying to give bootleggers a chance back in the day during Prohibition, where you were like, okay, see, we're going to come in and take all your booze in about 3 days. So if you want to get rid of it and sell it underground, maybe turn your pet shop into something else, you go ahead and do that.
Kid, you got Moxie.
Yeah, right.
I'll give you that much, kid. You got Moxie.
And you're basically giving these people the greatest favor possible in the sense like they have no obligation to you. They have no loyalty to you. I mean, and one of the things that China is really confronting right now is that a lot of its infrastructure has been built with, corruption and grifting and bribery. And so a lot of the things, a lot of the buildings and what have you that have come up, they've made a lot of development, but it's really shoddy. And in the grand scheme of things, they're not paying anybody anything. There's all kinds of high-profile defections from the Communist Party. I feel like that's kind of one of those things. Like I laugh when people are talking about the threat of China or whatever, and how the fucking looming era is coming. Where it's kind of like I feel like more than anything, we're going to witness more sooner rather than later China actually again breaking out and having another revolution. Hopefully, that doesn't culminate in something as tragic as Tiananmen Square. But, I mean, they're on the brink of breaking through the Great Firewall right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird to think about, like, all these Cold War entities that you grew up with that were just sort of far off and remote, like North Korea and China, are really in this great state of flux where you have no idea how it's gonna kind of shake out 5 to 10 years from now, really, And I think it's cool. I mean, North Korea, I feel like also is just like it's one of the most depressing things that exists in the world as a thing. Like I watched a documentary about North Korean refugees, man. And it's just like, and then what China does to them, and it's the shit like that where you're just like, at some point we gotta China's gotta be confronted, on a global scale. It's like
So buy American people.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
There's another place though. It's like Union Made. It's some fucking place that sells like $200 jeans. One of them like fucking
I don't know.
dirty motherfuckers. But their name is Union Made, right? So the whole thing is like fucking unions, like we're supporting unions and labor. But this shit they weren't even buying from places that were union factories or whatever.
It's just a mind fuck,
Right? Which is the shit that I feel like as what people legitimately point out with Apple, where it's like, are you just fucking doing the cynical Made in America thing, and you're not actually gonna give a fuck? You're not actually gonna invest in rebuilding the infrastructure. That's a legitimate problem because companies like Union Made, those guys are assholes. And I feel like that shit happens far too often where people are just people come to America, they're like, well, you guys don't have any rules, so we can just fucking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It shit happens all the time. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's a very glory hole.
Apple has put a lot into infrastructure and things like that. So who knows? It could go either way. It's kind of fascinating that they would even do it, and Apple's a trendsetter. That's something they've been for a long time. So, maybe just the fact that they said it would bring a lot more companies might like suddenly wake up and go, it's not a bad idea. I would think from the very least, a very cynical version of it would be a three prong attack, if you will. The cynical view would be they're tired of getting shit for putting over in China.
Fair.
They're tired of Chinese factories stealing their shit before it's even sold legitimately. And they're tired of trade secrets being leaked by a company in a country that doesn't have any kind of laws like that.
These all sound like personal problems, so y'all should just kind of get your shit together and kind of stop bitching like whiny ass titty babies.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, if you were going to go the cynical route, those are 3 good reasons they could do it.
I mean, that's very fair. That's a very fair.
I don't know that they necessarily sat down and went like, we're just going to be good people.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
Were you from in Ohio? Was it kind of like a smaller town on that scale?
Yeah, a little dead steel town,
factory town. Yeah. Were you there when you came around into the old world? To the old Blight Brew yonder, was it after the steel mill had kind of already fallen on hard times, or were you there for the end?
I was there just after the crest.
How much is it like Dirty Dancing?
It very similar.
Can I get a water?
Right.
All right, I found a fun little subreddit. Kind of, it seems like it grew up out of nowhere and exploded in a matter of days, and it's pretty fascinating. It's called "Explain Like I Am A," and there's examples like "Explain dubstep to me like I'm a cricket." Explain guacamole like I'm an avocado. Now that one would be easy. We're gonna mash you up. Some of the fascinating ones that I got into over the weekend.
You're a real asshole, first of all. You had no feelings for the
over the weekend.
No feelings for the avocado.
Over the weekend, there was 2 that I did.
Like
there were 2 that I explained that I was very happy with. One was explain Barack Obama like I'm a Southern plantation owner in the early 1800s.
That's solid. Some of these are not very good.
I wrote a response to that one. I could read if you want. And the other one was explain atheism like I'm God. So I had fun with those 2. Some of them are totally silly and worthless. Some of them are more fun. Explain modern day Germany like I'm Adolf Hitler. You could kind of you could go into an interesting route with that. Explain the Atkins diet like I'm Notorious B.I.G.
That's
explain democracy like I'm Kim Jong Un, which would actually be that's a useful one.
That's good.
It's interesting ideas. I don't know. I like the idea of.
What I do, some of these like explain the French Revolution like I'm a shit that is making you very constipated is a strange choice.
How do they now?
Yeah,
how
some
many,
of them are just people like clearly like a 12-year-old that's like, be funny.
How many guesses are put up there? Like when you click on those, does it give you everybody's?
Yeah, well, the amount of comments. So the idea,
what I do?
The way that Reddit works, I'll just explain real quick, is that You have to upvote these things on the front page, and the higher they get upvoted, they stay on the top longer, et cetera, et cetera. You can also downvote, and that'll drop it off the page. If you go into the comments work the same way. Anybody can comment, and if people don't like what you're saying, they downvote it, it'll just disappear. But if they like it, it stays towards the top. So the two that I did on this, Explain Like I Am I had the second most popular top-level comment both times I wrote. I was kind of bummed the first one. The God one I was very proud of, and it didn't. I was thinking like, yeah, I'm going to take it over, but it didn't go as well as I thought.
I like two things here. Well, first of all, the one explain dubstep to me like I'm a cricket. I feel like it would be better if it was explain it to me like I'm a locust. Because them motherfuckers be making noise out this fucking world, son. Okay?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But I am very fond of explain trolling like I'm an old-timey villain. That is amazing. I am imagining a conversation with some guy twirling his mustache. Like, wait a minute, you mean I just go around and just fuck with people? And people
I like it.
And
I like
me.
this.
You know, the whole community will surround me and give me praise for going around and being a bastard. Yeah, see? This is amazing.
Explain December 23rd, 2012 to me like I am a Mayan.
Explain anal sex to me like I am a vagina. That
See, some of them are terrible. I'm with you there. But, explain land to me like I'm a jellyfish. That'd be interesting. Although jellyfish don't have the cognitive capacity to understand things like sentences. But, whatever. It's cool.
Definitely not going to put you in charge of that one, bro.
Well,
first of all, you're too dumb to understand what I'm talking about. I know we've built
Here's how I'd explain it.
Well, listen. I mean, come on, bro. Somehow we've clearly built a machine that lets you talk to an avocado in a way that tells them
we're gonna mash you up.
You're gonna be murdered. You're going to be murdered.
I wouldn't have the heart to tell an avocado
Eric,
that it was going to be made
into
guacamole.
guacamole. You love guacamole.
I love guacamole.
Explain to an avocado that it's about to be turned into guacamole. Go.
You have a purpose ultimately.
Don't you dare! Get out of here, Morpheus! Get out of here!
Frankly, that's all you need to say. It would go, I understand. I get it.
You know, there's a fucking knife. There's a knife right at the top of the avocado, and Eric's just, you know how he did that heavy sigh? Oh my God, you bastard. You have the knife right there. You just. Ultimately, you do have a purpose.
You would be a great corporate pitchman or a spokesperson.
Let's see which other
for when
ones
they're
it
going to
is.
downsize. Like you're selling the optimism of what's happening. I love that.
Eric,
good.
But Eric's also
I
the
was
fucking
I was
knife
just going
man.
straight
He's
with
the
like,
knife man.
hey, we're gonna mash you up.
Go through
You're
and
over
see
here
which
like,
other
let me
ones.
start off with the positive.
Let's
First
scroll
off,
down.
you've got a purpose.
You got to lead
Scroll
with the
down.
good news.
Let's see what else
lead
we
with
got.
good
That
news.
we've got Eric who could be his
I
own
like
fucking up in the air with George Clooney.
Explain
over here.
agnosticism like I'm Jack Chick. That's the Chick tracts, Explain general relativity like I'm Aristotle. That would be fucking difficult.
See, a lot of this I'm just too dumb for. Like,
Explain
no,
communism
no,
like I'm a
no,
Smurf,
no.
but Smurfs are already communists.
No.
So that's it wouldn't be that difficult.
Let's go. Let's keep going. There's got to be another good one there.
Explain rap music like I'm Al Capone.
That's dumb. Wait, stop. Hold on a second.
Explain the current NBA to a basketball player from the early 1900s. Don't actually do it. I'll be bored out of my skull.
Nope, this is great. This is great right here. This is great. Eric, explain obesity like I am a malnourished 5-year-old South Sudanese child.
Ooh, that would be tough.
There's a place where people have way too much, and I come from this place. God, that's impossible.
All right, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can.
You know
get
what?
a shot.
You know what I feel like would happen after Eric would say he's like, "There's a place where people have way too much," and I come from that place. Unfortunately, you'll never go there. Now, excuse me while I eat this sandwich.
I'm gonna go back to the food hut.
They called me Sally Struthers back where I'm from.
I'm gonna say you're
The closest thing
you're
I could
so
think.
thin. What's your secret? That's
Explain
what I would
how
say.
The closest thing I could do would be
You're
like.
so teeny. I need to get on this Sudanese thing.
Well, look at that little belly on you.
Here's about the closest I could get. You know that feeling when you actually get a little bit of food and you just eat it and you relish it. Using your line, I come from a place where we just have too much of that all the time, and people get really excited by that feeling. And because it never stops coming, they just keep doing it. See, they have the opposite problem. You have Yeah, there's really no positive way to spin it, but that's about the best I could do for
I would
explaining
say
it.
Now, excuse me while I eat this sandwich. I think this one is.
I got a Whopper waiting for me in that tent over there.
I think this is.
I'll
really
be
good.
right back.
By the way,
Matumbo.
first of all, I'm glad you mentioned that because first of all, Burger King, y'all motherfuckers need to check yourself with your favorite Whopper moment campaign right now. Ain't nobody in this world who should have a favorite Whopper moment. Okay, if you got a favorite Whopper moment, you got depression. Okay, that's all there is to say about that. All right, ain't no other way to slice it. If you remember a Whopper that well, it's because either somebody died or because your life is falling apart on the inside and you don't want to acknowledge it. Now, Eric, explain to me. Hold on a second. You missed. I was gonna say one of these, and you went ahead.
I'm sorry. You want me to?
You
want me to
yeah.
go
There
up?
we go.
Okay.
Stop. Explain to me how one becomes a prostitute like I am a sheltered suburban mom.
Oh, that's easy.
No.
Okay, sorry. I'll let Eric do it.
Let's go. He's the expert here.
All right, it's easy.
I like how all of Eric's begin with a real solemn side. Like
I'm
he's
really
so
tempted to
fucking
do that. I'm
concerned.
really
He's
tempted
so
to do that
concerned.
one.
He's so concerned. Go ahead.
There's,
You want to go, Eric?
I would say
Go ahead.
that there's people that have needs that aren't provided for, and in order to get what they need, they have to operate outside the realm of what is considered personal space.
You're a professional, Mitch.
Let's be honest here. That man you go home to at night, he wasn't your first choice, and he might not still be or ever was your first choice, but you looked over all available options. You said this man has a good career. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's sane. He wants kids. I want kids. So you made a choice, and you said, I'm gonna go down this path. I'm gonna sacrifice certain things for a guaranteed comfort in life. Some people do that with their pussy. There you go. And don't you shake your head at me. Don't go judging me and shit like you ain't a hoe. You been a hoe. I know you been a hoe some point in your life when you were younger and you wanted a beer, but you were too young to get it, and you gave up and you rub a man's asshole or something shit like that. So you could get some shit. Don't you fucking shake your head at me and get all goddamn judgmental up in here, Mrs. Motherfucking Soccer Mom. Get your ass in your fucking minivan up in here.
Just because you
Point your
drive an
finger
Aerostar
around
with
shit.
a fucking camera in the
you
back.
all this shit now, ain't you?
Right?
Some of us
Yeah.
got to sell
See?
the pussy. You know what I'm
See?
saying?
That's why
Oh,
Eric
sorry.
goes in. He's real clean.
All right,
Gets
well,
nominated for an Oscar. And
Fair enough.
Kendrick is around.
Listen,
Okay?
I get it.
It's
Cool.
it's a real tight operation. We're in and out.
It's fine.
We might even
Cool.
buy a magazine
It's all right.
subscription or two.
All right.
It's
good. good.
Meanwhile, if you in the case, kids is out there jumping out the bedroom window, bedroom sheet ropes,
No hope.
meth addiction, they gonna end up on intervention. Okay,
I like
all of
it.
a sudden, A&E's got to fit a bill. They don't need that kind of.
You want to know the 10 most looked up words of 2012?
Oh, here we go.
Now,
much
I will
is-
tell you, all
is
of them.
Bieber one of
all
these?
of them gave
Is
me
Bieber?
all of them gave me hope.
Is it Gangnam? That Gangnam?
Some of them are very basic, but even the basic ones, well, somewhat basic. I wouldn't say very basic, but relatively basic, gave me hope because I'm like, at least people are wondering what the true definition of that thing is.
I hope I know what they
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Bigot, democracy, globalization, marriage. See, the marriage one gives me a lot of hope because that means a lot of people are going, oh, wait a minute. Why are we
Let's look up-
we're fighting about gay marriage? What truly is the definition of marriage?
Yeah, let's
Before
define
I
it.
even get into this.
Wait a
That's
minute.
good.
Hold on a
Meme,
second.
that you could throw that away. Professionalism. That's hilarious.
That's depressing,
Schadenfreude. I don't know. I mean, okay.
That's all
And
election.
touche.
That's all election. That came out of
Yes,
nowhere.
that's
For,
fair.
that was literally
That's
a
fair.
last minute entry, bro. That's fucking.
Yeah, touche.
Touche? We looking up touche?
It is surprising to me that people had to look up the word bigot, but again, there's that election
are you
again.
more surprised by bigot than touche? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not surprised at all people looking up bigot. What do you mean I'm a bigot? Oh, yeah, I am a bigot. That shit happens every day, son.
I guess I'm
Who are these
surprised that
motherfuckers
that
are looking
many
up
people look.
touche?
Look, I'm not surprised that people look up touche. I'm surprised.
What?
I'm surprised that in the top 10 words of 2012, touche was number 10. That surprises me. that it was used so often this year that so many people had to take to the internet and go, "What the fuck does touche mean?"
Well, I think
that's strange to me.
I look up words that I know what they mean, but I look it up just for the etymology. Like, where does it come from? How did
I'm
it
with
come
you there.
about? Because I find that
Absolutely.
really interesting.
it's a
So
good
how
cover
did
story.
it?
But did
How
so
did it-
many people did that
good.
that it's number 10 on the list? That's again to that
You might
point.
get a job with Merriam-Webster. You keep talking like that.
I'm with you. I'm all about the
Are they
etymology of
still
terms.
around? Very much.
Yeah, we ain't having dictionaries out of business, bro. That's recession-proof. Everybody gonna need a dictionary.
Remember those big old dictionaries? Or do we even have those
Let's go
anymore?
digital now, bro. Encyclopedia Britannica, I think, stopped printing substitute print edition.
That's
now.
sad.
Yeah, man. No more fucking salesmen going to it. Hello, ma'am. How would you like to run encyclopedia? A through Z. That was like an old sitcom device, man. Remember the old days? Old
The
time.
ding dong, and they come with a vacuum. They give a
right.
demonstration,
You know,
and then
that's
she'd
just
bang
not-
them in the.
Okay, see, that's why you don't write no sitcoms. That is why you don't write
Now,
no sitcoms.
Eric,
No, that's what I'm saying.
oh, go ahead.
No, what I really think is telling is that professionalism is as high.
It's a
as
little
it-
weird. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's like wait, who really needs? Like I can only imagine that it was a number of people who were like either about to quit their job,
Yeah.
or like ask for a raise, and like it's called professionalism, motherfucker. Do you need me to look it up? I'ma look it up. There it is on your screen. See all them things you ain't? Now give me some money. I ain't got none. Okay then, unemployment. See you later.
Optionally, they watched the Joe Biden Paul Ryan debate, and heard Fox News go, "That's not. He's not showing professionalism," and they were like, "What is professionalism anyway? Does that
But
does
do
that
you know, I
disclude
feel like it's really
Joey
weird
B
that we
handing
have.
a man's ass back to him?"
I feel like it's really weird that people have to be like, what is touche? I mean, like, it's really weird that people need to look up the definition of touche.
Especially
Or
given the
professionalism.
context
Right.
that they would hear it.
Right,
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you heard it, like I can't imagine that some dude was like, "Hey, you want to pick up some pizza? Touche, motherfucker!" And you're like, "Wait a minute, what's going? Yes, wait, what?"
Yo, can I
Oh,
get a
good.
soda
You
out of the
you gotta
fridge?
work-
Touche, motherfucker.
You got to work harder to earn a touche than suggesting pizza.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only thing that I can imagine. That someone's like, "What is like touche?"
See,
What's
touche
go-"
is
Well,
one of
you're
those
not even using it
fucking.
right.
Touche is one of those fucking words.
Awesome. It's
Yeah, it is.
awesome.
It's a great word. The thing is, I love when somebody says touche to me. I feel like, all right, we're good. We're on like an intellectual equal here. But like, that's not something you can say on somebody else's behalf. You're just hoping they're going to use touche more often. Maybe it's just me. I always hope people will say touche to me.
I feel the same way. I've been feeling that way my whole life.
I love saying touche.
I
don't get it enough.
I love the English language, and I get nervous that for a language to stay alive, it has to be used. So there's words that are no longer within our vernacular that just die because it's not being used.
We don't
Like
use anything,
like
bro. We don't spell
hubris.
things.
Like when's the last time somebody said hubris to you?
Yesterday.
Oh, yeah, actually, we use it on this podcast all the time.
Check all
actually.
that hubris and eat the Pop Tart, you fucking broke ass.
No lie, if you listen to the Vinay Shand episode, at the last like half hour of the thing, there was a big discussion about CBS, CBS, and I used the word hubris about 10 times in the course of a minute, and then Teddy used it another 5 times right after that.
See, that's why
it
I
was
like
thrown
you
around
guys.
all over the place. Hubris was
We are the last.
hubris had its day in the
How
sunshine.
about
that day.
how about debacle?
Yes,
How about
also
I'm
use that a lot on the show.
Debacle's one of those words that I say all the time, but every time I spell it, I'm like, I get halfway through it, I'm like,
Debacle.
fuck.
I can spell it too, but the thing is I often will bring up debacles just so I can use the word debacle.
This
We
is
use
a
the same
debacle.
word.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing with hullabaloo.
Oh,
I love the word
yes.
hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo is
It's such a good word.
that's a tough
I
one.
passed it off to a coworker the other day as it was a disease. I was naming off diseases that were coming back because we don't vaccinate. I was like, yeah, whooping cough, yellow fever, scarlet fever, hullabaloo, smallpox. And he looked up. Oh, he was like, wait a minute, that's not a disease at all. I was like, yeah, but if you get a lot of hullabaloos around, you might get some disease. Got those.
Do you know what a
But you
brouhaha
could say
Oh,
that.
yeah, brouhaha.
Yeah,
Of course, I
use
know what a
brouhaha.
brouhaha is. Yeah.
Brouhaha.
Brouhaha.
That always feels like you're about to like pet a small Persian cat, in a
Brouhaha is the
throne.
best,
This
man.
is a brouhaha.
When I was a manager on the management team and we had a big meeting, I was talking about a particular instance that happened at the restaurant, and I said I used the word fisticuffs, and everybody laughed.
Yeah, man.
Like how Is that such an antiquated word?
It's really weird when
I
you
said
use,
it came to fisticuffs, and they were like,
I use that phrase so much.
You
all
just
the
carry
time.
those around with you everywhere you go.
right.
You just keep
It's
them in
so
your back
weird.
pocket,
It's
or
so
what?
there's
weird
like
when you
nunchucks
yeah.
and fisticuffs.
When you say something and people look at
I
you and
got a
I'm like,
steel
oh,
pair
y'all
of
motherfuckers gonna
fistica.
really make me feel like I'm some sort of motherfucker from antiquity right
That's
now.
how I feel
You're
every
gonna make
time
me
I have
fucking
to use
feel-
the word anthropomorphic. I'm always like, I fucking really need to use this word because it's the only one that describes what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, you use it, everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, can we fucking be adults here? I'll tell you what it means. It's very easy to understand.
But I
it's
love
just the
that.
only word that fucking fits when you're talking
You know
about
what word
like,
I don't use
oh,
a
that
lot?
chair said, like, okay, you're. I wanted to have, I've written a joke into my act that I don't know if I'll ever use because of the fact that I have to use the word anthropomorphic. When I was thinking about like when they have like mascots on food. You know what I mean? Like a little, like a piece of corn or something like that. It's like, hey, try something. It's like you got to be real careful about anthropomorphizing your food and your mascots like that. Like this corn's like, hey, eat my brethren.
Yeah, right?
Just slaughter
yeah.
slaughter my lineage and
Like those-
enjoy. It's we have a tasty lineage. That's all I'm saying.
It's like those old
you know.
Troy McClure fucking livestock commercials where, from The Simpsons, where, the slaughterhouse. He's like, that cow sure can't wait to be eaten by you.
well, what about the little mini wheats? The little mini wheats.
Yeah, that shit was always weird to me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I think is the best example right now of what you're talking about is Honey Nut Cheerios, where the bee brings the box to the woman, and then all of a sudden he sees that she, is
Yeah, she's got all those bugs in the
right,
wall.
she's got all
Yeah,
the
that's a
bugs.
fucked up.
And then it
fucking
ends all
commercial.
of a sudden when he is all like terrified and shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did y'all put money into this?
Yeah.
How is
I
this a
didn't see
fucking?
that.
Let's make a horrific Honey Nut
can we-
Cheerios
yeah, where it's
commercial.
like
I know what you're talking
but
about.
it's
yeah.
like it's literally the bee is like, hey, here's Honey Nut
She's
Cheerios.
got a bug collection along her wall.
She's a
and he's-
scientist.
Yeah, so he brings her this box of Honey Nut Cheerios, and she's all, "This is delicious."
And then he's
he
like-
looks up and sees the bugs, and he's all, "I better go." And she's like, "Not so fast,"
Right,
Like,
and then it ends with
Yeah.
him like he's like Honey Nut
Dun, dun,
Cheerios, and like the
dun.
music is all dark and ominous and shit. And I'm just like, is this really who the fuck did y'all focus group this with? Because this is a fucking abomination. This is a travesty right now.
It's
Yeah,
not good.
what happened to just a bowl,
Right.
sunshine?
What
the
happened to
morning, the
Kicks,
kitchen?
man? What happened to fucking Kicks? What happened to Mikey? Give it to Mikey.
What about
He'll eat it.
honeycomb? Remember
kid
honeycomb?
tested, mom approved.
Yeah, you
Kick.
know what I'm saying? I still love Kicks, bro. I wish a motherfucker would give me some flavored Kicks.
I liked honeycomb. Honeycomb always had fun commercials.
Honeycomb had fun
Honeycomb
commercials.
big. Yeah. You're too young.
No, I remember Honeycomb, but I definitely was not a fan of it though. I remember I would always be like,
What
like,
was the later
a few times that we
Honeycomb
ever got
commercials?
Honeycomb, I'd be like,
remember now.
listen, I always get so mad. I'd be like, I tell you what, I'm gonna eat it, but I ain't gonna like it. And like, it was like one of the few times that I was like, I hate this fucking cereal. Like there was like I had a conversation in my brain. I'm like, shut up, you're getting nourished. I'm like, I hate this motherfucking cereal.
I put sugar on that shit. Like, I
Honeycomb
just-
sucked to me. It was terrible. Honeycomb was awful. Listen, I would still stab a man over a box of Fruity Pebbles right now. I'll tell you that right. America.
Apple Jacks was good for me.
You
though.
fucking communist.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so good.
Apple Jacks is one of the most overrated cereals
Oh,
of the world,
so
son.
good.
It was a terrible.
I'm getting
Terrible.
hard just talking about it.
I know you would. You gross. You so gross. Thank God anybody mentioned no corn pops yet. You gotta fucking just splooge all in your pants. Might as well wrap up right now before Eric just starts busting off cereal nuts. Let's go ahead.
Oh yeah, see here I
Before
was
it turned
thinking
into
in my
a
head that
fucking
we started late,
bathhouse.
but we started earlier, so we actually are 10 minutes past our time. So,
Yeah.
Eric, what can we plug for you? Where can people find you?
Definitely on Twitter. I would love people to follow me. I do a lot of writing on Twitter. It's at Hahn Eric.
Okay, HAHNERIC,
Yes.
Backwards plot twist.
and
I have a show every Sunday at Room 5 on La Brea above Amalfi Restaurant.
I've been to Rome.
Brian
You been there?
Beverly.
I
I've been
haven't
there,
I've
man.
not
That's where I
been
made
there.
my comedy debut out there.
Really? I want to have you up in my once
well-
we're going monthly once January hits, but I have 4 more weeks
we'll
to
talk about
do
it.
it every. And then I have every Monday I do a show at Mom's Bar in Santa Monica.
Are you
Santa
on
Monica.
Facebook as well too? Or
I'm on Facebook.
YouTube or anything?
I'm on Grindr.
More importantly, though,
I'm
Tell
grinding
me-
right now.
tell me-
I-
oh, don't you dare! We need to go ahead and get out of this.
It's all right. I do the same thing on OkCupid. I'm with you. Like I said, I'm a straight version of you. Minus
I
that
don't know.
30% apparently.
Let's be fair. You might be a straight version of him, but I don't think you're doing the same thing on OkCupid he's doing on Grindr.
No, but they do have a locals thing on OkCupid, so I can find chicks in the
not
area.
the same as Grindr.
The
Grindr is a
company-
totally different world, bro.
The Grindr
Yeah, no, I know.
company, they did a
Grindr's
straight version.
not
It's
as-
called Blender.
It's not
I've
as-
seen that,
not
yeah,
as-
but it doesn't work as well because
No.
chicks already get guys always. Hey, you're close by. Let's
Plus,
fuck.
it's all the
You know what I mean? It doesn't work the same way.
It's way more rapey.
Yeah,
than
Well,
Grindr.
sure, exactly.
Way more
Again,
rapey.
that's why I go with OkCupid. At least there's like a profile and percentage matches, and they only show you people that are high percentages. It's nice enough. Tedrick, what you got?
December 20th, House of Brews. Jose Chavez putting on a Comedy Con Carne holiday special. So, holler at your boy out at Flappers Comedy Club. And that's all I got right now. Mitch, what you got?
December 22nd, Formosa Cafe, and I think I got some stuff in the next week or two.
December 23rd, Improv, Men's Comedy Club. Come on out and check that out. That's a 9 o'clock show, so get your broke asses out by 8:30.
Is it Rebels?
Rebels comedy as well, too. Good night, bitches.
Thanks for listening to Straight Riffin'. You can catch all past and future episodes of Straight Riffin' on the official website riffin.net, riffin.net. Keep in mind, we do air live every Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's 10 p.m. to midnight for you East Coasters. You can actually watch that right on Facebook, on our fan page, facebook.com/straightriffin. Like us, check out the Ustream page. You can even chat while we're doing the show. That's how we interact with the fans. We thank you so much for listening. Check out riffin.net. Buy my album. Buy Teddy's album. We'll catch you again next time. And rip the fuck on, bitches!